Greetings, well met. That's my Ben Brode impression. Welcome everybody to the Archon Team League Championships, live from Plano, Texas, the busiest and most bumping part of the United States of America. My name is Frode, and I'm joined by Kriparian and Noxious on the desk here to bring you guys the weekend's action where one team is going to win a lot of money. We have $250,000 up for grabs. I couldn't be more excited. Krip, how you doing?
Oh, I'm very excited as well. It's actually, I think most of the teams are going to win a lot of money, right?
Yeah, actually third place gets, but one team
gets nothing.
Gets nothing. Third place still gets at least $30,000. So that's a pretty good haul for the weekend.
It's a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, for people that are watching, they're like, "What? I want third place. You know, hook me up."
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. But
Noxious, how you doing?
I'm doing just the same. I mean, the funny thing about like the money that's being distributed is that the fourth place being like you go home with nothing. I think the worst would be for Nahilum to go there, just because of the amount of effort they had to actually go through. Like they went through so many hoops to actually get here. Like,
Yeah, there has been quite a few matches already. This is the finale because the players have been playing for many games, many matches across several weeks, and we got basically the top half of the 9 starting teams, 8 starting teams.
Oh, we had 8 starting teams.
teams.
8 teams over 7 weeks played a round robin stage.
Right.
We had the top 7 go through extensive playoffs, and in the end, the top 4 have gotten here. Some teams that didn't make it, Forsen Boys, Team Archon, and Liquid all fell in the respective playoffs. Team Celestial, better luck next time. They unfortunately got the donut, the bagel, the goose.
0 wins.
Yeah,
0-7, and I think it's a good testament. I mean, some teams are very close in record. Like overall, a lot of people ended 4-3, 3-4, and it was able to get relatively close. But some teams definitely proved that they were a cut above the others.
Well, in terms of the finale here, we kind of get to see how this works here with the brackets. It might seem a little bit daunting, but it's really not. It's fairly simple. What we're going to see today is we're going to see each of the teams play off against each other. Cloud9 is the first seed, so they got to choose who plays who. They chose to play Tempo Storm, thus forcing Nihilum to play Value Town. And today we're just going to show these guys, and tomorrow we're going to find out who's going to come out in the top seed, second and third and fourth seed. And well, the next stage of tournament is going to be very reliant on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting actually to think about the format because it's not quite double elimination. It looks like it, but it really isn't it. And there's a huge incentive to come out ahead on the first day. Like there's actually, I think it's the single most important match.
Well, I think it's the second day, right?
Yeah, second day, sorry. Like you have to come out ahead.
Right. So the best way to summarize is that we're right now in a seeding group stage. If you go 2-0, you go automatically to the finals. If you go 2-1, you wait in the third place match, second place match. And then if you go 1-2 or 0-2, then you start in the third, fourth place match. And that's not where you want to be. And ultimately, we're going to go to day number 3. This is what you're looking at. Day number 3, we're going to have 3 matches. Third and fourth place match. And then we go to the semifinal and finally the grand final.
Yeah, and what that means is one of the teams that will come out the winner after today will eventually be in that first seed.
Yeah, and it's also like worth noting that the teams that end up having to go through third and fourth place, they have to fight what, like 4 matches total if they want to hope to get to the grand final.
3.
So they have like their first match and then seeded, and then if they go through, it's going to be
hypothetically
like
the road for the third place seed is the hardest because they've won 1 game and then they win 3 more, and so they have to go 4-1 overall. But I mean, just keep winning. Don't lose. That's like the motto here. And every team knows that every single win significantly bumps up their chance of winning big prize money. Again, $150,000 for first.
Yeah.
That equals out to $50K per player.
Well, it depends how they do in the split, right? Maybe some players are more valuable.
Right,
yeah,
like,
that's right.
Kibler gets everything.
Kibler, as a master of duels, gets $149,000.
Wow.
That sounds fair.
And then Dog and Trump can split the 1K.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, they're already fine, Yeah, viewership-wise, they don't need it. Kibler,
I mean, in Texas, $500 buys you a lot of stuff.
It's true. You can live. I actually heard rent here is pretty cheap. I mean, this house is pretty awesome, but I heard it's not like insanely expensive as well.
Basically, heard it's not even expensive.
Yeah, it's actually cheaper than my rent in California. So rip.
And you live in like a closet, right?
Yeah, I do. I actually live the equivalent of the space of this casting desk.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's good. That's
I sleep in the fetal position every night.
Yeah, and the cool thing I guess is that you always like feel at home at a casting desk.
Yeah, I do.
That's pretty sweet.
Gosh. So we have actually our matches for today. We have 2 matches. Tomorrow we'll have 3, and then on the last day we'll have 3 again. Right. And we also have not only the 2 matches, but we also have a Caster Jeoparino.
Right.
That's what's going to be happening today. And our first match will be Cloud9 versus Tempo Storm.
And this is the match that Tempo Storm wanted.
Is it?
Oh. Cloud9 won.
Cloud9 finished first seed, and
they got to pick. They got to pick who's facing who. So for some reason, they seem to think Tempo Storm is easy pickings.
That's right.
Yeah.
And in fact, every team, when asked like who would they pick, they all pick Tempo Storm.
Wow.
And actually, what happened in the playoff bracket, Archon got the pick because they were the first seed in the playoff bracket. They also picked Tempo Storm. So it seems like they seem to be the ones that people are targeting.
Yeah, I was talking to actually some players who were mentioning, the thing about Tempo Storm, and that's what I love about the team, is that they're really innovative when it comes to decks, and they'll bring sometimes decks that you look at and you feel like they're unrefined, but they're actually like functional, and so people feel more comfortable facing off against rogue decks that might not be optimized, instead of facing off against.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I've heard.
I don't know if that's actually the case, though.
This is not out of my.
I heard him talking to Dog, so maybe he was talking to Dog.
No, it wasn't Dog. It wasn't. But
I saw you guys chatting. The Complexity Bros. They were hamming it up.
Well, my little take on this is, I think Tempo Storm actually started out pretty rough when it came to the start of the league, and they've actually been killing it recently. Especially since the turn of the Grand Tournament, where a few more things were possible, and it seems like Tempo Storm took advantage of that. And now they've actually had quite a bit of a break between the last games in the Archon Team League. So maybe in this period, Tempo Storm has some real surprises for us, and it feels. Maybe overall they might be. They might be the sucker of the group, but I also think they're maybe even the most dangerous, just because of what they can prepare for this.
Yeah, definitely. They're really aware of the Asian metagame as well, which I think is like a little bit faster than ours as far as evolving. So very often you'll see the metagame be a little bit ahead, and they're keeping track.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting to see if that's the case here. But I think we're ready for our first match of the day, and so we're gonna hop to a Crypt video before we start, so you guys enjoy it.
Hey guys, I'm Crip. Now that we are here at the Archon house, all the guys are here. It's been a blast just to chill with them. Everyone's talking about Hearthstone, their impressions of what's going on. The best of 11, 6 decks conquest, that's been really successful since the start of ATLC. It's really brought a very clean, competitive format to the constructed tournament scene. Now that we just got TGT, and players are bringing their A-est of A games, because so much is on the line. Coming into the finals here at ATLC, the top team, number 1 seed was Cloud9, and now with TGT, this is the kind of stage in the game where you can take a risk in a tournament and bring a deck that no one's seen before, that you can absolutely break the meta on the spot, and this is basically the tournament to do that in. People really like the new Secret Paladin, but I feel like some of the old decks still work pretty well against it, and nobody's really seen like the dominant deck. Patron is still around, of course. I would have to say, based on just general tournament results, the mid-range Hunter, I believe, had the highest win rate across the qualifier games, and that deck has evolved a little bit with the Ram Wrangler, with some of the new Hunter cards. People are trying new stuff, and they're having some success with it. In the current time in Hearthstone, and with so much on the line, really the most predictable deck to win is one that we haven't seen yet. You guys should watch ATLC Finals, because it's literally the time to see some really crazy decks. There's literally never been more money on the line in terms of the Hearthstone competitive scene. So really, this is going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, the height of tournament Hearthstone. So make sure you don't miss it. Check it out. Minion from the TGT expansion.
All right, so thanks for that wonderful insight, Crip.
I have no idea what I said.
we're like, so what did you say in that video, Crip? Because we don't have the audio of the video, and then he's like, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Well, the people that are still watching, I guess, are a fan. So yeah, thanks, guys.
Oh man, 2 priests in this lineup. That's actually really cool.
And it comes from 2 players who love playing the priest class. Gara is a big priest player from back in the beta days, and Kalento is one of the only brave players that brings Priest to tournaments where there's a lot on the line. However, Priest seems more viable nowadays, and in fact, people are ranking it as one of the most powerful decks in the metagame.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few tech choices you can make. Right now on ladder, a lot of people are just playing generally aggressive decks, And I think really a lot of the classic versions of Priest just work against that. We know, I think Kalento's favorite Priest deck was just the typical control. Sometimes he played like the Death Lord one. I think Gar also really liked the typical control Priest. But nowadays we even have the Dragon Priest making some leverage on ladder, doing pretty well against the aggressive decks as well. The differences among the teams, though, is Cloud9 went with a Warlock, and Tempest had a Mage.
Yeah, and those are two classes where I expected them to not be the ones debating to be cut. Like, wouldn't you want to keep the Warlock and maybe even Mage, because it seemed to be popular with Freeze Mage and Tempo Mage, and wouldn't you be like debating to cut other classes like Druid and other things? But I guess now that TGT's developed a little bit more, we're going to see if it ends up working out for these teams. We have Warlock versus Priest to start things off.
Yeah, that's a really lopsided matchup in favor of Warlock, usually, especially if it's, let's say, Handlock. Yeah, assuming it's Handlock.
If it's Handlock, I suppose so.
Versus Dragon Priest, I think it's a really rough matchup.
Ecop's been playing Zoo.
Yeah, he's been playing Zoo almost every single week. And if that's the case, then most Priest decks are going to do, I think, favorably against Zoo.
Yeah, most definitely.
It depends. I guess it's very one-sided either way, assuming it works out the way it's supposed to. Now, Priest has gotten much better in its consistency, and I'm going to assume this is Dragon Priest because I know Gara won't shut up about it, and he always talks about how great it is. And I'm going to assume Cloud9 is also running the Dragon Priest because that's what Kalento was doing last week.
Well, the Dragon Priest, again, it does make a pretty big impact on ladder, but I haven't really seen it in like high-level tournament play yet. I don't know if it's quite the same as the traditional Priest, where you have just amazingly complex decisions where players like Gara can really show off their experience. It seems more of like a Druid type of play. You just play your biggest minion every single turn.
Yeah, that's also pretty fair as well.
Well, that's a pretty good start for Gar. I mean, just having the Wormist Agent is a pretty good start. You don't really need the Twilight Whelp as much necessarily.
It's not a good bad start for the Warlock either, though.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, you need to find at least a 3-drop by the time turn 3 comes around. Otherwise, you're going to be blanking.
If you get a buff here and you can kill the Wormist Agent, the Velen's blanks out and. Yeah,
that's a really big deal, actually.
If Gara loses his first minion, it's going to be really bad.
Do you think he might opt to pass just for the safety of it?
Keeping the coin to have like a backup plan?
No, I don't. I think it's Zoo. I think there are no backup plans.
Yeah, you can't let him
just play your best stuff every turn and hope for the best.
Yeah, well, in this case, Ecop really needs that extra buff.
Oh, there it is!
Right off the top.
That's huge.
I can't even believe this.
I mean, it seems like a worse turn than the last turn. He has fewer stuff on the board, but I mean, it's not likely that Gar can actually follow up.
Wow! Oh my goodness.
He does get a great follow up actually with the North Star Click Power Word Shield play. Yeah. And it's actually Ecop that has no follow up now.
Yeah. What can you give for 3 mana that'll immediately answer this? Because it'll be a 1/5. Nothing really buffs it outside that range other than Power Overwhelming.
Right, and that's kind of it feels a little bad. At least you can life tap on the back of it, right? So if you do end up power overwhelming, at least you have a follow up.
Well, still not amazing. Some of these Zoo decks have had some weird cards.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it too.
Yeah, but it's still a body on the board for Valence Chosen. It's not even that it has to be Valence Chosen on this either. It's just that Priest needs something to stick so that its hero power is effective.
Yeah.
Oh, you can actually play the North Shire and just draw a card anyway and outnumber the bodies. Also, the other option is just the highest tempo play with the Black Technician.
Yeah, which might be reasonable considering on 4 mana you don't want to let your opponent get a really powerful board control, and Void Caller will be coming down.
That's really putting Ecop in a really awkward spot. I can't think of a single top deck that would stop this. Even if you do get what you want, you'd have to roll Implosion pretty high to get like a guaranteed board state.
I think it's still alright, unless Gar finds an answer to the Void Caller, but I don't think there are many answers to the Void Caller in the Priest deck. I think the typical Dragon Priest actually only runs 1 Shadow Word Pain, and it wouldn't even really work here.
Some run the Shadow Madness occasionally, but there's nothing to sacrifice it on anyway, right? So it's kind of irrelevant.
I think it's going to have to be the case that he triggers the Void Caller on the following turn in Vol'jin's if a big demon comes out.
Well, he does play around Shadow Madness, because if he went face there, then assuming he had it, he could hit into the Void Caller Shadow Madness and suicide. Now, there is an answer to the Doomguard. Even though it doesn't have power or Shadow Word Death to remove the 5 attack or higher minion, he still has a Vol'jin, and that's a really powerful removal tool at Priest. And sometimes just like Vol'jin timings can straight up end games because the tempo swing is too far in favor of Priest.
So how do you play this turn? Do you just play the Valence Chosen, or do you go Northshire heal and double trade?
Never
mind.
I think consistently you're just making the most tempo plays with this deck because If the Warlock can't really get going on the board, it just limits his options so severely.
Yeah, so I guess if you trade, you have to at least be prepared for the follow-ups.
Yeah, he also
He
used,
has Black and Corruptor.
Yeah, but
yeah, that's true. He also did use an Ironbeak Owl, so he knows that the Bane's Chosen buff is likely to stick. Therefore, there's a less chance, or a reduced chance, that he can easily deal with this buffed minion. Now, Implosion, a high roll Implosion can also ruin things, but that's also a 1 in 3 chance, at least based on what we see.
I really like the attack from the Void Caller. I mean, from the Abusive into the Blackwing tag, because it actually plays around like a Power Overwhelming play. It forces your opponent to play around Power Overwhelming on the Void Caller if he buffs it with Bane's Chosen. That's actually a really great play from Ekop.
What do you think about just going for a really lucky Implosion here?
Wow.
Because if he gets 4, he wins the game.
Right.
The Dragon Priest has like almost no comeback potential.
But if you miss, what's the consequence? Do you just potentially get blown out by like Holy Nova?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's overall fine.
I mean, you get blown up by Holy Nova with this play.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Blackwing Corruptor though is not going to be enough. Like even if he kills the Doomguard, the Imps with the Abusive are going to be fine enough for Ekop.
I think he's fine here with the Blackwing Corruptor.
Yeah.
The truth is, like, if you look at that hand, this deck just plays out the biggest stuff as frequently as you can. And if you don't play the Corruptor here, like, what do you play? You can't play the Vulcan.
Right.
So.
No, there's no alternative, of course, yeah.
Well, the only kind of alternative is Holy Smite on the 5/2 and you play the 2/6 body because it has more health than the Corruptor. But if you do that, you ruin a lot of value in your next few turns because you might not be able to just slam dunk Vulcan.
Yeah, and sometimes not even having the Dragon, if you need an enabler later on, could also be a bit of an issue.
Well, that fills up the rest of the mana curve here.
I think I like the Abusive over the Power Overwhelm.
Yeah.
Power Overwhelm lets you reach for a little bit more in the following turn.
Yeah, probably.
The next turn you want to play Dr. Boom. So that 7 mana is out.
That's still fine because, like, probably one of the Imps or one of the Boombots are going to stay alive, so you still have more reach on the turn after that, even if you have to make that play.
Alright, Cabal Shadow
Priest on curve.
Yeah.
What do you steal? The egg because of threat?
just the threat. I mean, those minions are not worth anything. If you steal any of the either ones, it just dies to the board.
The other one,
sure. Not to mention, you do have ways to activate the egg to make it really live as well. If you have a second Valence Chosen, you can make that.
Like the Holy Smite.
Yeah, you can Holy Smite your own thing. I think you want to save that for Vulcan, though,
right.
ultimately.
Yeah,
Vulcan Smite is the dream. And it's going to happen on the Dr. Boom if Ekop is going to do that, but I don't really see an alternative.
Spectator mode glitch from Ekop's perspective, definitely.
Yeah.
But we know it's on the board just based on the perspective we have from Gar's side.
Yeah.
So definitely going to be a Vulcan.
It has to be a Boom.
I mean, actually, I think the dream is Vulcan Holy Nova, by the way.
Oh my god, yeah.
That is the dream.
I think that is the absolute biggest dream.
Yeah. That's the only one card answer to Dr. Boom, right? Or a Light Bomb kind of works. Yeah. Depending on your
also
board
Twisting Nether.
I mean, you still lose
again
on curve.
You might lose some
on
stuff
curve.
There. Yeah.
Unless you have Molten Giants, then you Twisting Nether Molten Giants.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's actually great.
Okay.
Yeah, you take like 8 from the Boombot, so you enable them even faster.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great play.
All right. Well, I think it has to be exactly that.
Yeah, I think he's wondering if he trades at all first for it, because maybe he gets higher chance of the Boombot hitting the egg, and then he can Vulcan Smite.
I like that.
That's actually a great point. Nope, that's gonna miss.
Oh, that sucks.
4 damage to the face. I mean,
it's better than the Cabal dying.
Yeah,
but that's the only situation.
Disastrous.
Yeah. Wow, that's 6/7. I mean, look at the amount of investment Ekop's gonna have to make to remove it.
Is he gonna make it though? I mean, he has double Power Overwhelm in his hand.
Yeah,
like here comes Doomguard. And like it's guaranteed.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how much damage?
With the boom hitting face, I think that would be lethal actually.
4 damage to the face.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I think he only needed 3, but anyway, it's no Doomguard this turn.
He's gonna Power Overwhelming the Vulcan down, and then if he kills off the Cabal Shadow Priest with that Boombot.
Yeah, wait, what if the egg pops? I mean, the odds are the same, but do you have to take that all in, or do you just go face and let the priest try to... I mean, he's gonna beat you down over 2 turns if you go face, that's a problem. Yeah, you're probably dead if you go face.
I think you might have to go face
optimistic.
Yeah?
Because priest can heal.
Yeah.
So if it just ends up being really defensive, it's not that good.
Wow, 6 damage to face from Boombots. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Until you realize it's actually just a little bit above average.
It's alright.
Second Power Overwhelming being used here. This is not looking good for Ekop, considering that Gar has now some other ways to load the board with the Twilight Guardian.
Actually, I'm wondering, like, Gar's list is pretty standard, but I think the Cabal is a little bit of a tech choice.
Yeah, definitely.
There's really not much room in this Dragon Priest deck for Priest cards. So
Yeah, outside of like a couple of removal pieces and
Right.
the Northshire Cleric.
Yeah.
I agree. Just because it's so Dragon synergy based.
I feel like Gara is just one of those old school Priest players that just doesn't want to give up on some of these tools. So I wouldn't
Right.
be too surprised if he even had a second one.
Because Cabal feels so good when it works.
Right.
Yeah,
It
like
just
even a
is one of
shielded
the
mini-bot, right?
amazing tempo swings. And now more than ever, there's just more minions that are 2 attack or less because TGT has introduced it.
All right. Molly plays the Azure. He still has the taunt. He's got Ysera.
Yeah. He doesn't
I
want
mean,
in-game boss
we
fight
talked
value.
about how Ecop was probably going to lose this game if he went face, but I don't see how he's going to win the game
If
now.
he didn't, yeah.
He used a Doom Guard.
Yeah.
He used
And
2
both
powerful
of them.
lonings. Is he playing like Mal'Ganis? It's like that's probably the key. And if he did, he needed to draw it like right then.
I think if you have Doctor Boom, there's a really high chance you have Mal'Ganis if you have the Void Collars, which he does.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah, I like the play
man.
that Gara made when not playing the Dwight Guardian, making sure that he doesn't spawn more 1-on-1s from the Imps.
But
Not
he
that it's
juggles
going to be like a huge
twice.
deal, but...
No, that egg has been immune to everything.
Not that
Uh-oh.
one. But what's scary is now another juggle can just land on it, and then that's another
Yeah.
problem he has to deal with.
Yeah. So I think,
Actually,
yeah.
one of the coolest cards here would be a Holy Nova, I believe.
That would be devastating. And you definitely have Holy Novas in these decks.
Oh, well, does that help at all? Not really.
No.
Yeah, it's actually probably not doing anything.
I think it actually does
Yeah,
nothing.
it's harmful. Actually,
Yeah.
it hurts you.
Mhm.
It hurts you. I don't think you want to play light ball.
I think you would. I mean, there's no hand from the Warlock you'd consider just dumping your whole board here. Dragon, Northshire even.
Would you play Sarah? Or is that too little, like, value?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you're not putting a threat, right? Like, it's a delayed lethal you're putting.
I don't like Ysera here.
Okay.
If you play Ysera, you basically force Ecop to go face, and because you don't have the taunt,
It's
he
risky.
might actually win that way.
Yeah. All right.
And you don't even have enough like clearing power outside of Ysera Awakens. Ysera will only attack 1 minion per turn. You have a lot of ways to take out these smaller minions with just bigger, smaller minions.
Yeah.
This Dragon Priest is working super well. The choice to bring it so far is like kind of panned out. If you expect, especially Cloud9 to bring the Warlock at Zoo,
All right, not bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty good card.
it's helpful in a way.
But he still can juggle on the deck. That'd be disastrous.
Yeah, of course,
Well,
it'll happen. 100%.
I honestly think Ecop needs to get lucky enough to kill the Drake with juggles here. Which is there's a lot of
1 out
juggles.
of
that-
5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He has the Imp Gang boss.
He has Imp Gang Boss. He has 2 off the Creeper, and he has 2 creatures you could play.
It's not
It's
impossible.
a ton of
but
juggles,
The egg
but
is
he has to
likely
get lucky.
great.
Yeah, because if it hits the egg with any of those, he's basically making.
Right. He's resetting.
He's losing ground on the board.
No, to the face.
Wow.
Juggler's just smorking it. I mean, it's typical though.
Actually, everything's just been smorking into
Yeah,
the face.
you're
The-
right.
The
Yeah.
boom bots.
Oh! That has to be it. There's no way you come back from that. No way.
Ika was telling me how good he was feeling today too. He was
Yeah.
like winning Mario Kart before the
I don't-
game began.
I don't even know if I like that. I feel like you have to go for more lucky juggles.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like pop
In
up the.
It's that time of the game where you just have to
Exactly.
get really lucky.
Wow!
This is
Confessor.
okay. So this is a card that I know Gar loves to death. The Confessor Paletrus. He says it's. He even thought of replacing Ysera in the deck.
He's the
right?
best. Yeah. I'd
Well,
play
it's
replacement.
it's a half decent light bomb, but you have to attack with a 4/4 into that.
Yeah.
So Confessor, please enlighten me, Frodan. Does Gar play it?
Because it's just a win condition that sometimes priests truly lack, and it's one of those really it's just one of those super taunt minions. Like you have to remove it. So like, and priest is pretty good at controlling the board early. Part of what makes Confessor Paletrus like you think twice about it is that it feels slow. It's like,
Yeah.
how do I get a chance to play it? But this deck excels so much at early game board control that there is a realistic chance you can get value off of it.
All right, well, let's see what kind of value we get. I've only seen this card once, and it
chill,
wasn't a
Baron
highlight
Geddon.
reel.
Chill
Baron
Maul is what I
Geddon.
want to see here. That'd be
Oh
absolutely
man, that'd
nasty.
be crazy. It can't be that. It can't be that.
Ah.
Oh, only a 5 minion.
For 2
Boring. God.
Yeah.
2 mana.
I actually saw the Confessor Peltress in a highlight reel where it was in arena. He played one, got Chilma. Then the guy played a second Confessor Peltress.
Oh, sick.
And when he healed, he got 2 Confessor Peltress from the 2 Confessor Peltress.
What? Oh goodness,
That's great.
that's insane. I think I'm gonna play her in every deck now.
All right.
That's like straight.
Well, Gara basically played 10-12 worth of stats with a potential for more.
Yep.
Ecop drew a 3/2 creature that does 3 damage to him.
Yeah, that sounds like a very good play right now. Like you get yourself down to 13, so the game is
Yeah.
lost faster. You can move on with your life.
There's
Yeah.
too many targets that you just want to remove as well. Like you want to kill the Confessor Paletress. You do want to stop the priest from drawing cards, so that way you can outpace it. But now, like Ecop I think he's just thinking if he can win from this position, and I'm pretty sure the answer is no, because even if he deals with this threat, then Ysera comes down onto the board, and that's another win condition in itself.
Yeah, if the priest's hand was empty and you cleared out the board and got a lucky Doomguard, you might think you can get.
What
like,
is the
another
best
7,
case
8
here?
damage.
You have to remove as much damage as you can off the board. But
Yeah.
can you? No, I think you just can't even
he's
play around
just
lethal.
dead
Yeah,
on,
he's just
on
dead.
board, so...
Well, first
That's
game
it.
to Gara.
Oh man, Tempo Storm gets on the board.
That's right.
There
But
we
you know
go.
what? It's not a sprint, Crip. It's a marathon.
It is a marathon. It's usually those last few points that really matter.
It's
Again,
like you
guys.
can be up 4-1, and
Yeah.
then just like it goes to game 11.
Exactly. If you guys are just tuning in, we are basically playing the same type of format as we have in the previous weeks, but much more is on the line, well, we'll have to see now with TGT. Now with that, we had a little bit of time to like ferment some of the card synergies in these players' minds, and maybe come up with some really cool stuff. So
That was good. So what do you guys think? I mean, the Confessor Paletress, I explained maybe why Gara likes it a lot, and you got to see it function against a fast third deck. Do you have any changing opinions on it at all now you've seen it, or is it just like too small of a sample size? You need to see more games of it.
I think that card could have just been any card, and he would just play Ysera instead for the same effect.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the swing potential of it in many matchups is good enough to actually justify playing. But I don't know if I would cut Ysera necessarily. Like, that's, I think, the biggest deal. Against control decks, I guess you get an extra threat for free. So they have to answer, like, another legendary and Paletress guaranteed. So that might be worth it.
It's just interesting because everyone always talks about how fast the meta game is, right? I mean, these guys, they seem to be in good spirits. Actually,
this is from
Kalento
earlier.
laughing.
This is
kinda
pre-recorded,
weird.
for sure, pre-recorded.
Yeah, nobody's smiling. I mean, Kalento was saying yesterday, he was talking to me about how the metagame is like super fast, as you mentioned. And he seemed a little frustrated with it. He's like, ladder is 80% like aggressive or fast decks. But we saw Dragon Priest do super well, so there's got to be room for those
with
slower
Confessor
decks.
Paletress.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could have been very polarizing too. I mean, I think it's still almost impossible to lose with like the handlock variations against Dragon Priest.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what's really important is that even more, it's already important in regular Conquest, but in Team Conquest, if you get to know a specific archetype of a class, like it's Zoo, and you win against it, that Warlock has to be played again, and now you can start cornering it based off of that knowledge.
Exactly.
So that was a huge win for Tempo Storm, and I think Cloud9, they're still feeling in good spirits, but they definitely are not happy about that.
Yeah,
result.
if you look at the lineups though, like what does the Zoo from Ecop want to line up against? There's a Druid that it has a slight advantage over, maybe less now that there's Darnassus Aspirant. The Hunters are pretty bad matchup. The Warrior could be also very difficult. Paladin, I guess, is more of a coin flip. Maybe even
it's pretty
difficult
close.
nowadays.
If there's one person to play like a slower Paladin, it would be Strife Crow.
Right.
But I think he's even come around on mid-range Mysterious Challenger Paladin. So I think they just call it fast Paladin because it's not really mid-range.
Yeah.
I think the Zoo deck is a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
It's just a deck. I mean, you look at those lineups, and it's like, I've seen that on ladder, I've seen that on ladder, I've seen that on ladder, but you don't really see Zoo Warlock much on ladder. I think there's some reasoning behind that.
It's just hard because the Zoo feels like it's in an awkward spot relative to other fast decks. Like the Hunter still is very good against it. The Paladin's good at controlling the board. Like you'll never really bounce back from all those secrets and competitive spirits and Avengers. Because again, the Zoo is benefit off of snowballing the board, and usually it leverages its own buffs. But when you get consistent buffs like Avenge and Competitive Spirit, how do you keep up with that pace on shielded mini bots and Argent Squires? It's just really hard.
Yeah, like the Paladin tools that were given to them initially, Muster for Battle and Shielded Mini Bot, which were there to equalize the tempo, because they used to be terrible at getting that like through turn 1 to 4. And now that they have that, now they transition into even like a better mid game. It's kind of impossible, in fact, to stop.
I think I'm curious also to see what the Warrior splits on. I think a lot of people are still very high on Patron here, but I'm not sure if anyone would be like ahead of that and be like, well, maybe we bring Control Warrior or Dragon Warrior to try to beat that.
We've seen Dragon Warrior a bit on ladder with that new Alistraz's Champion card.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool.
I haven't seen it be too successful, but I'm actually really hoping they bring it because I like the spikes. I really like some of the new cards seen play. I mean, what Gara brought was pretty cool. Get some ideas flowing.
It makes sense too, because if you think about it, the Confessor Paleotrist, it's all about securing your early game board, and that's where cards like the Cabal Shadow Priest make sure you don't die early on.
That makes sense.
And that's where like all these tech decisions might synergize, as opposed to like, I like this card, I'm putting it in. You know, it actually has an overall strategy.
That's how I play Lore Walker Show everywhere, right? Like
sure, it seems like it makes a long sense, but then maybe he's weaker against some other kind of decks.
So I'm pretty excited to see this because Kalento yesterday was talking about like Australia's champion, as you mentioned, and he was saying there's probably a minion-based warrior deck to make with it that is, dragon-based, but not on the control side, really just like minion-heavy.
Like mid-range dragons?
Yeah, something along those lines. He's been building a deck like this, and it worked really well on ladder yesterday.
Well, here's a spoiler alert. Anything Kalento builds
it works on ladder. Yeah, okay.
He's climbed in a #1 countless times with decks that should have no business being there.
Right.
Yeah, he's also kind of played a bit risky in some of the bigger tournaments he's attended. He just brought like completely new decks.
Yeah.
I think when people were saying how there was like 8 classes in the game and then there was Priest, and then next week we actually see Kalento take like a tournament by storm with an anti-aggro Priest deck, something like that.
An open tournament against like 256 players.
Exactly.
Just brings Priest and wins.
All right, so the players are getting ready. Amaz is overseeing the entire process.
And one thing we didn't talk about is that trophy there. Amaz is kind of blocking it there, but we'll see it again.
I thought you were calling Amaz the trophy, and it's like,
Oh, that sounds
well,
good.
there is the trophy.
Yeah.
It's reflective of the Archon League Team League Championships logo, I believe. I'm looking behind me.
It says Archon team on it. Oh, that's interesting.
So if you get it, if you win, you're actually recruited.
Oh yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh wow.
So they induct a new member. It's a ceremony.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it's what they signed.
Which is why they tried to get out of it, so they can recruit their own team members.
All right, but it does look pretty cool. I mean, most tournaments kind of just buy trophies and just go with whatever. I kind of like the custom.
I'm pretty sure you can't put that in your carry-on though. That's probably a legal weapon.
Right.
Oh, it's a weapon.
In a lot of ways. Just look at how sharp those edges are.
Maybe it has like some disassembly and reassembly potential.
Would you do it?
All right, well we know what they're both playing.
Yeah, looks like it's gonna be a Raging Worgen OTK.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Magnetor Alpha with Charge. Kalento was playing that on ladder yesterday. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I know what that card is.
The 5/3
like the Reaper.
I have not seen that play.
It's magnificent with Charge +2 attack. It's like the best and most amusing removal in the game. But
remove 3 cards off the board.
Yeah.
Interesting, to say the least.
It is pretty cool.
And lose the Magnetor, of course.
Well, Kalento is known for his very, very consistent Grim Patron play. I think Hyped has played like some really wild turns. I think if there's any like very strange Grim Patron play, it's going to come from Hyped. But I mean, it always gets me thinking, and it certainly with Grim Patron's one of those decks where you want to learn more, even though it seems like a very non-standard counterintuitive play. You always kind of learn something. You always learn there's maybe another option to playing the deck.
Yeah. The Unstable Ghoul, I think, is a really big card to play in that deck. It's one of the trickiest ones to land because sometimes you want to play it early, sometimes you want to play it mid-game, sometimes you have it on the board and you need to get rid of it, especially in the Patron Mirror match. So.
Well, one thing that is still unanimous in this matchup is whoever can grab that early game board control usually has an overwhelming advantage. Kalento already has a Grim Patron in hand. If he gets, the Death Spite and then able to whirlwind something out and just get 4 patrons, then it's just really difficult for Hype to come back from that spot.
Yeah.
Well, there
it is.
Yeah. We're missing the Inner Rage, I think, to seal this in like a very
kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, you also can just play on curve. When you go second, you have the coin, so you can't like coin out Death Spite and then play Patron. So you usually just play it on curve, and then you even have the coin whirlwind on 5.
Well, if he's playing the Acolyte, he definitely has 2 Inner Rage, I believe. Just because otherwise that card might be dead. He has no other combo with it. Hyped is just looking to draw cards right now. I've also seen this aspect of play where one player just drew way more cards than the other, and he was able to counter all the plays of the other player.
Yeah, that's true. There is the draw a billion cards and answer everything type of play.
Yeah, but it's a little bit difficult, I guess, in Patron, because Hyped is a player that I usually see play Control Warrior. So when you say, he makes wild lines of play with Patron, I wonder if that's just because...
It makes him with Control Warrior, too.
Oh, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's an Inner Rage, guys.
Oh, okay.
That's an Inner Rage with the Death Bite and the Patron.
Well, okay, so... I mean, how do you come back from this? I mean, I've seen some variants of Patron include Brawl, but I don't think I've seen any in the last month.
Well, the thing is this combo's still a few turns away, because I feel right now you have to Death Spite.
Yeah, but then you have Battle Rage next turn.
You could Slam, honestly.
Right?
But Battle Rage probably draw you one card. I think the Hammersmith is going to die.
So you wouldn't slam ever? Just to kill the Acolyte? I mean,
Slam to kill the Acolyte so you can save the coin for
Death's Bite? Yeah,
turn 6, or turn 5, Grim Patron, coin, Whirlwind, Inner Rage, Death's Bite hit.
Well, maybe that's too much. Yeah, the extra Whirlwind might be too much. Yeah, the coin isn't needed anymore.
I mean, 6 patrons is a lot to deal with. I don't mind that.
Okay, well, it looks like he is going with that line of play.
So he's going with his big heavy win condition of, I'm going to dominate the board now. My opponent needs to set Death's Bite and have the Grim Patron in order to be relevant on the board.
It looks very difficult. I mean, the hand from Hype right now isn't looking exactly amazing. He's got the ghouls, but the ghouls will just feed into the patrons. Sometimes you get a crazy turn where they can get ghouls to detonate and put all the patrons on 1 health without, duplicating themselves, and then you can sometimes whirlwind them off. But
I think I think you're overrating that sometimes.
Yeah, it's like it happens once in a blue moon.
I think that sometimes is something I've never seen. Actually.
Really?
Seldom.
You haven't?
No.
Interesting.
I don't think I've seen the ghoul whirlwind clear of patrons.
I have. It's kind of interesting because like you have a patron on 3, then you attack.
Yeah. No. It makes sense. I just think it usually just doesn't work out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's optimistic to say the least, but at the same time, it might get to that point if Colento ends up really committing hard to the whirlwinds.
Well, if he does all of that, Hype does not have a clear right now.
No.
Yeah.
And if Hype doesn't clear, Colento draws another like 6 cards. I mean, that's just done.
Well,
yeah, you're right. On the following Battle Rage.
Yeah.
That's 6 patrons next turn. I mean, Hype's best play here is a no mission bender, so we can continue to cycle.
Yeah, but it feels mediocre because at the same time you're fitting into the Death's Bite. But what can you do really?
I mean, you probably have to feed into Death's Bite anyway. You can't really assume that Colento's hand is as perfect as it is.
He either swings at your face or he swings at the no mission bender.
Yeah.
And with 1 mana, you can't really hope to pick anything else up here.
You can't actually abuse the AoEs that are coming up. The ghouls aren't set up, so you can't go with your counter patron turn either. Yeah, looking a little bit weird. I guess if you get an Emperor person.
Second patron is a little luxurious.
Yeah.
I think he's still going to Battle Rage next turn, and I feel like he would dump his coin.
I think you just go for the max patron turns here.
Yep.
And show the top deck.
Would you go all in and dump the whirlwind as well?
Yes. Okay. Get some more armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of armor. It's a lot of
I think you make the attack first though.
Yeah.
With the weapon, just so you could lose that 1 health for the extra card on Battle Rage.
Sure.
That is absolutely the perfect sequencing.
Yep. And that is 4 damage patrons, I believe.
It's gonna be 5 total because that 5-1 is gonna die.
Yeah.
So
you have to roll a 5 on the board.
Oh, you're right.
3 damage patrons.
So 4 draws off the Battle Rage. That's pretty hard. I don't foresee Hype playing Brawl or any card here to help get him back. If he did,
he's up to 6.
Ridiculous.
How do we?
Yeah,
Right, 6. Yeah,
it was going to be 6 patrons no matter what. We're just talking about the damage patrons.
Taken,
it's 3 damage patrons.
So he draws a second patron. That doesn't really help here. How many can he? He only can slam Fiery War Axe and execute 1, right? So that's not helpful at all.
It's not too bad, actually.
It's not bad. You can get rid of... Like, the fact that you can even kill some is, a decent step. The problem is if there's even 1 more Whirlwind effect at all, you're pretty much...
Well, I mean, these guys are both playing Patron Warriors, so even if there's just 1 Grim Patron left, suddenly next turn you have another 6 you have to deal with.
Right.
That's just typically how the game works out.
Yeah. Did you see the poster that was made for the announcement of the BlizzCon qualifiers?
No.
It's like a bunch of patrons, and it says everybody get in here.
Okay.
I got triggered.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here I think you just considered doing like very little.
Slam.
Yeah.
Would you execute the other 3 too, and then just whack 1 down?
You kind of don't have the choice, don't you? Like
What's his follow-up plays? I mean, he does have Warsong Commander, but his options are pretty limited without a bunch of spells.
I mean, you could go Grim Patron Ghoul. That would give you, an extra patron. And him...
Oh, Colento could just play another patron.
Yeah!
He couldn't deal with these 3 other ones.
Yep.
Let's give him a 4th one.
I mean, the Thorson on curve here is very good, too. This almost spells like the end. I don't even know what Hype can really draw.
That doesn't... Well, does that help? Is he still alive at the end of the next turn, assuming he goes and attacks this patron?
He's alive.
If he goes into the patron, then he has his own Warsong patron play, and he's at least going to get 2 patrons.
Right. Is there a chance that's enough? Because the War Song allows him to kill whatever patrons the Kalento puts out, right?
Yeah.
So he gets a little bit of an edge as far as trading goes, but not a big one.
I wonder if there's some weird fringe scenario where you can like clear the board with just the War Song and Unstable Ghouls and stuff next turn. Because the thing is, he might be
but
too
he
low
can
HP.
draw into lethal here. He's only 6 damage out.
It's 3.
Okay.
You can draw another 2 cards. With
Oh, it's
that.
5 damage out,
5
actually.
damage out, yeah. He doesn't.
If
need that
he had a
much
cruel
more.
task instead of that shield block, that would have been it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, he can still draw 2 more.
Yeah.
Give an opportunity to go for that lethal. Or another inner raid,
Yep.
right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Inner Rage would also
That's
do
right.
it. So shield block into Inner Rage would do it.
I was thinking about it. He probably knows something bad's happening next turn. So
Yeah.
he's calculating the odds of drawing lethal, and I think they're pretty reasonable.
Oh yeah, Battle Rage is even better.
He already got 1 piece, so... Oh! you got that
Dual
same
wield.
piece twice.
Yeah.
Gotta dual wield these axes.
Wind Fury, the Fire War Axis.
Yeah.
I think I like the Acolyte Fiery War Axe play here. Just because your opponent's going to be so low, it doesn't actually matter if you give him another patron.
Goodness. Okay.
He wants the Whirlwind effect to create more patrons on his side.
Okay. That seems fun, too.
I mean, honestly, I think any of these options are okay. I mean, that Whirlwind
Oh,
effect...
can he do whatever we were talking about earlier here?
Yeah.
board
maybe
clear with
he
the
can
unstable
actually.
Yeah.
I think he can. Like this is probably the moment to do it. If ever. It's
I
gonna
don't
be
know,
now.
though. There's a 3-1 patron, so it ends up spawning 1 based off its absence, and
Yeah, but that's
know
fine
if
because
it's
you have
gonna
like you have
actually
2
work.
ghouls and a whirlwind and the death bite. That's a lot of AoE. But you have to attack at least 1 ghoul into the Emperor if you want it to die from AoE damage overall.
I think you can't do it. Because...
You have to spread around the ghoul on not a patron target, so I think yeah, it's pretty much over. If you could attack the 2 patrons with the ghouls, I think there might be a way, but since you can't face tank any of the
You
minions-
just can't equalize the Grim Patron health.
yeah.
It's always like a bit lopsided.
Yeah, so he
Hype's
just
gonna
said-
end it.
not even try.
Yeah, put himself out of the misery, I guess. It's like this is typically the way the matchup goes, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you have a crazy comeback with frothing, but usually turn 5, like a first guy to get patrons out just takes it.
All right, well that first guy is Kalento, and he gets Cloud9's first point on the board
A
there.
very big one, too. But at the same time, I think players on every team are accepting of the fact that patron just goes through. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think they're like, oh no, like,
so many weeks it's not
patron
been the
got
case.
So it's actually a best of 9 is what you're saying.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we say that like I think every week, but it turns out like maybe like 1 in 3 weeks that we've cast so far, it's just not the case. Like
That's true. Like, sometimes patrons fail.
yeah, they're just at least in the past there used to be a lot of decks that just counter the top deck, and I mean that was patron. So I think that actually still is the case. If you look at some of the lineups, patron often doesn't do terrific against hunter. Often it loses to druid. Paladin's way stronger now. It's still probably a good matchup for patron, but I mean you wouldn't fault them for getting run over by secret pally these
Yeah,
days.
because
Yeah.
it's really fast. But, you know, Warlock is the zoo instead of the Handlock. So that's a really big plus there. Because if Temple Storm lost that match and then Cloud9 had the Handlock,
Yeah.
that'd be a very dangerous scenario.
Yeah, I think the Zulok, as we were talking about earlier, might be the downfall of Cloud9, just because it's that one deck that doesn't seem to have anything that it matches up super well against. That has like a 65 or 70% upside over it. Not anymore, at least. Now the Druid's a little bit better at being consistent with the early game.
Looks like Hyped and Gara are talking things over. Of course, Eloise is not here in America. She
Right.
was landlocked in China due to some visa problems. Her and RDU could not make the event, unfortunately.
So they will be playing online,
Yes, remotely.
remotely.
We will get their webcams and everything. Don't worry.
Hopefully. Okay, so now we have Hype coming off of a loss. All the rules in the past few weeks are still in effect. We
Right.
still have the bench rule. We have an actual bench
We
for you guys.
literally have a piece of wood for them to sit on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a little-
it looked very uncomfortable.
Oh, they should be.
Well, how do you do it? There's like a triple bench, right? They just all go sit there.
They all sit there and they
Okay.
can't leave for the rest of the day.
The rest of the day.
Yeah, they have to share the bench with whoever gets benched from that point.
That sounds really cool.
All right, well, I wonder how many players can be benched at once.
3, we had it last time, didn't you? I was
Yeah.
asking-
triple
Could
bench.
both teams have bench players? No, they couldn't, because like one has to win, right?
Right. It's
Yeah,
So
well, as,
three
soon
is
as,
the
as soon
most.
as someone wins on the
Right.
team,
Yeah.
they get unbenched.
Right. All right.
So I have to ask a question because I get a lot of answers that are different. Like Secret Paladin and Patron, some like they're both tier 1 decks, but some people say Patron is very favored. Other ones say that Paladin is like 60% against Patron with the secret variants. Is it just a mid-range one? Or?
I just feel like the main win condition for decks in general against Patron is you just run them over, and Paladin does that. It probably has a lot to do with lists because I mean TGT has only been out for a couple weeks. And people experimented a lot with Secret Paladin in that time. We've seen Secret Paladin from basically aggro pally with just the mysterious challenger, and that's basically the deck. We've also seen that deck with like Tyrion and stuff. So I think often people are just talking about different things.
So it's kind of hard, I guess. If you, I assume like the mid-range variant would be better because you've got Shredders. They're more sticky, like against say a Patron deck. They like Warriors have trouble dealing with it.
I think I actually favor the more aggressive one because the more aggressive decks run double Divine Favor, and Grim Patron needs to actually hoard cards until like turn 6 or 7.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. All right, so E-Cup is going to be running with his Hunter against a Paladin. We have to assume Secret. I mean, Hype seemed like he did like the archetype. And I think everybody does. Really, like in competitive play, it seems like Paladin's just going to have a spot for a while.
Yeah, we'll see. I think so far in the tournament, the Secret Paladin has not done too well.
Yeah.
But Conquest does resemble the ladder format pretty well. And I mean, in ladder, this is the deck to be playing right now, I guess.
This is the deck that everyone wants to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the deck that people are teching so that way they can defeat it. So much so that hunters are considering running Flare just to kill these kinds of paladins.
This is the thing too, like in tournaments, you kind of want decks that are just really powerful, but you don't want decks that can be countered very easily. And if you really think about it, the Secret Paladin is not that. Like, there are decks that just crush Secret Paladin, like Freeze Mage, Handlock, that kind of stuff. Secret Paladin just doesn't win against those.
Yeah.
So in tournament format, the Secret Paladin might be worse than its appearance on ladder, but I still feel it has a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if E-Cup, if you expect a Tempo Storm to bring Freeze Mage, right, and Paladin, a single Flare in a mid-range Hunter list wouldn't be out of the ordinary, right? Like, it would kind of make sense as a one-of. So yeah, maybe E-Cup is going to be playing that. I wonder if he's going to be playing more of a Beast mid-range. If he's playing mid-range, of course, he might still be bringing Face or Hybrid.
No, I think the consensus is that you don't bring Face Hunter to this tournament.
That's over.
I think the only player to bring Face Hunter constantly was Frozen Ice, and he maybe not coincidentally had the worst record of the tournament.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it was a 7-week tournament, so that means 7 weeks of bad Face Hunter.
Yeah.
And people still complain about losing to it, which is still hilarious.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the interactive.
I think mostly it's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, Face Hunter. I guess I drew badly, so I lost, you know?
I mean, even Face Hunter against Hybrid Hunter these days doesn't even feel like as Face Hunter favor as it should be.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, Hunter didn't get the most tools from TGT, but they definitely got a couple tools that can help them out.
I think it also tricked players into thinking slower decks were better. So people just played slower decks and got destroyed by Hunter.
Yeah, they got completely punished for not... Because, I mean, at early TGT, no decks were refined. Like, on the ladder for about a week, they're
still not, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, some of them are being refined. I think, like, Secret Paladin is getting there. It's kind of close to...
one Hunter deck I want to come out more is the Ram Wrangler Hunter deck. I know Crit played a little bit of it.
I did my best to forward this idea.
Wreckful was also putting that idea forward a little bit on ladder, and I think that card has a lot of potential. Sure, it has a lot of variant swings. You could get Captain Spirit all the way to King Crush. But it's definitely one of the most fun cards I think, to play.
There's an argument to be made as well in mid-range right now for not running Mad Scientist in that specific Beast deck and running Scavenging.
That's brave.
I have not heard that one.
That's Scavenging brave. Hyena. Like, there's a few players have reached like top 5 legend.
We've seen decks with both of those cards though, right? I think the one Wreckful was playing as Mad Scientist and Scavenging.
Definitely possible.
Yeah. It's very brave. I mean, there's a lot of ideas. Like, I think Crips was to put the Tiger, Stranglethorn Tiger, so that we guarantee have stealth and then have the minions.
You just have beast triggers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
And then there's obviously like beer traps, so that way that helps you set up Hound Masters and Ram Wranglers a turn before.
Everything, I
like that. Yeah, I like that approach.
I think bear trap's a perfect card, like as far as enabling beasts. Sometimes that's the issue. You don't have a beast already set up, and if the opponent plays around other traps, sometimes bear trap will go off and just get you a free 3/3.
Well, that is Abusive Sergeant. That doesn't scream Face Hunter, but it doesn't It doesn't write it
enable
off.
Yeah.
It does enable it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like.
What about the secrets here? Does that kind of tell us what it is for the paladin?
No. Repentance just goes in every deck.
Repentance is one of those flexible spots, and I think that makes me lean towards this being a very fast secrets paladin as opposed to the mid-rangey type ones.
Yeah.
But even then, the fast ones might even throw in like just a Dr. Boom, and then it's like, oh yeah, top out Dr. Boom, but I have like curve 1 to 4.
Kind of like if you look at the hybrid hunter, right? Like they're face hunter, but they curve with 2 high mains and Dr. Boom, where you have paladin, aggressive, just playing 2 Mysterious Challengers and the Dr. Boom.
Well, you have the option of freeze trap or the owl here.
The trap looks good.
The trap does look good. Often later on, it just hits on a 1/1. So I think in terms of the game overall, the freeze trap is much less valuable as the game progresses.
Yeah.
While it does basically the same job here.
All right, so Eloise is definitely going to try to get a free ticket to triggering the trap with the 1/1, but the problem is ECOP can deny that as long as he wants.
Yeah, and then
no, he can't. If she plays Redemption.
Yeah, she has to play Redemption in order to guarantee the trigger.
And then that would give a minion to stick on the board for Blessing of Kings.
Yeah, I think that's the right play.
Yeah. ECOP's hand looks well prepared against Secret Valley, at least. I mean, he's got the bow. He might get a charge off of it because it might be developed before the minions end up attacking, and the owl denies any kind of crazy buffs.
The crazy thing is Redemption might trade for Unleash.
Wow.
Oh yeah, because the Unleash would be able to attack everything twice into it. Well, she goes for. I mean, she already committed to the line that this is not explosive trap, right? It's not some mind game,
right?
So she needs to go for that Redemption play.
All right.
Well, ECOP also has the bow, so ECOP has some choices here, and none of them are terrible. And he's still got the double Unleash,
right?
So you have to think he's in a good spot.
Yeah, he needs to play around, Noble Sacrifice. Has he? No, he's already played around.
Noble Sacrifice is something to be concerned
It's already been played around, but like the new secret that came out, you have no idea what it is. So Noble Sac could be an issue if it's Noble Sac and Avenge. Since you play the bow, you can't owl, which forces you in a bit of an awkward spot for the following turn.
He might even opt to try to attack first and then evaluate, because if it is Noble Sacrifice, then Unleash might be better.
Why is the secret sideways? She doesn't have 2 secrets up, does she?
She does.
She does.
She played Avenge on turn 1.
Oh, I missed that. All right.
So that's why this is really complicated for ECOP, because he has to decide if it's going to be Noble Sacrifice. Is it going to be a Redemption?
Yeah. Either way, it's a little bit troublesome. I mean, if Noble Sacrifice there, I guess it kind of acts as a Redemption in this case, because it just spawns an extra minion. Either way, you can treat it the same.
It can avenge the minion that it spawned in some cases, but I guess not in this one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but then this needs to trade into the 1/1.
Right. I think if the secrets were played in reverse order, Avenge could trigger on the minion that was spawned. In which case, ECOP's play would have misplayed half the time.
Right.
So ECOP's still in a great position.
That's
with
so interesting. That is really, really interesting.
It's also the player order, I think, right? There's something, like somebody did the Hearthstone science on this. It also depends on who has the player priority.
So does this deck play Divine Favor anymore these days?
Some of them do, some of them don't.
Thank you, Crib.
Well, I'm laughing because the Worgen Infiltrator got drawn, and the Repentance is about to get literally zero value.
Yeah. Well, it was going to get 0 value anyway. There's nothing with health in that hand.
Yeah.
But the guys who are running Divine Favors generally run more little minions and fewer tech cards, because you just can't, like, you see Lothab basically.
Yeah.
So Lothab means it's probably not running Divine Favor, because you can't have cards that you have to hold. They just have like exclusive cards. Like the decks are just completely different. So often the decks that run Divine Favor don't run Silence is the other thing.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right.
Are you okay, Frodan?
Sorry, it's just like, that's just nasty. You follow up Lothab with the Mysterious Challenger.
Yeah, but you still can't break that freeze trap.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you mind having things like Lothab popped back, and then you can hit pretty hard.
But he might just kill it, right? It's all about what. So here's the deal: if she wants to get Lothab back, she attacks. She attacks next turn. But there's a risk that ECOP just uses the bow and the Worgen to kill Lothab, right?
Which is then, I mean, you still have the Mysterious Challenger anyways to fall back upon.
Wow, is that going to be an Iron Beak Owl Arcane Golem turn?
I think that might be decent.
Yeah, you can actually kill a mini-bot with a Worgen and then go face.
The thing is, if you see Lothab, I mean, I know some of these decks even cut Consecrate, but if you see Lothab, you can expect that's in there.
Yeah, you're right. Consecrate could be devastating. I mean, that owl onto the mini bot too was also pretty big, considering that's like a huge problem for the Paladin to deal with. But now there's the Mysterious Challenger, and that's even more problems.
Yeah. Do you even think
You're just
about
taking
it?
a lot of damage, though, man. Like, a lot of damage.
From the Hunter?
here.
Yeah.
Like, if you play the Mysterious Challenger and bounce Lotheb, you basically kill yourself.
Well, is it really that? I mean, yeah. Okay, it's pretty bad.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
bad.
really bad because you have to replay Lotheb,
But
you
then
still can't.
you don't have to attack with Lotheb this
Right,
turn.
but if you don't attack with Lotheb, then when are you attacking? Turn 8? Turn 9? I don't know.
Because I mean, there might be a 2-1 that stays up, but
Like,
Ecop can deal with that.
that freeze trap has basically
Yeah.
put Eloise out of the game. So, like, the
Right.
entire game.
It's
You
insane.
just can't play around it.
Yeah.
The fact that she's playing a slower, more reactive version of the Mysterious Challenger Paladin makes it so she's just out of options against freeze trap.
Do you replay? No, you have to play Mysterious. So we have, like, we know all the traps that are going to be coming out.
So it's probably everything minus Repentance. Repentance you never play
Right.
2 of.
Exactly. Oh, wow.
Another Arcane Golem.
That is on curve.
I mean, this looks as face huntery as it gets, by the way, and we're kind of
Right.
racking on it a little bit.
Yeah, the deck is not very good. Kind of doesn't perform very well, and then...
Yeah, you have to imagine, though, that if Eloise is playing, like, the hyper-aggressive Secret Paladin, Ecop would probably have no chance.
That's true.
Yeah.
It really worked out just maybe by chance or maybe Cloud9 knows, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. They could have done the scouting information for this.
Yeah, Mysterious Challenger is going to sit there and be like, hey, I'm buffed. So what? Like, there's nothing he can do here. Like, you get the extra Hound to deal with the 2-1. That can't tank the trap.
Yeah, I believe this last Seeker is competitive. Spirit,
Yes,
right?
it has
Yeah.
to be. Actually, it might not be,
Might
because
be
her,
eye
her
for
deck,
an eye.
her deck is really, really slow.
Right.
But what other suit could it be? It can't
Eye
be
for an eye.
No,
right?
it can't be anything else. It can't be.
There's only 6 Seekers as well, so I don't think...
It would have to be another Repentance, right?
Yeah.
And it's not. Okay, good. Yeah, so there's Competitive Spirit. Eloise can swing in for 10 damage, and
So
then
it's
she would die.
Consecration, basically?
Pretty much. And even with Consecration, like, the Hunter can probably raise Eloise.
Maybe.
I mean, that would be a 2-turn clock.
Yeah, with Freezing Trap, you're still kind of... You can't attack first, you have to replay.
Oh man, Freezing Trap.
Yeah.
MVP.
You actually,
insane.
yeah, you have to Lotheb here, just to not die. You have to attack the 4/2 Lotheb and dude.
Wow.
You can't attack, though.
Well,
Like,
no,
it's a
you can't. The
freezing-
Freezing Trap's
freezing
out.
trap.
It's out now. Lotheb
Okay.
got bounced back.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right, you're right.
Yeah, that's why Lotheb got 7. I was like, am I missing all these
Oh.
traps? Was there another freeze trap that I missed? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Okay,
No.
Crip's not actually watching the game.
Yeah.
We're just like telling him what's going on. All right.
And now Luis needs like some kind of life gain to stay in this.
True Silver Champion, perhaps?
That might not be enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough. But also, True Silver is often a 1-of in this Paladin deck. So, I don't know.
Yeah, puts him down to 2. And Eloise could clean up the board, but then she'd need True Silver Champion and her opponent to draw dead, which is
Yeah.
not the case because he has a kill command following
Yeah.
him.
Right.
So I think there's almost no chance outside of some kind of very weird scenario, like
Lay on
able
hands.
to kill your own Pilot Shredder into a Vitality Totem.
What was the argument here for trading? I mean, I guess the True Silver Champion still kills him at 5, right? So it doesn't matter
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
he gets
The
2
kill
from
command
4.
plus the hero power
Right,
is still
right.
5.
A Blessed Champion would be lethal.
Wow. Let it happen.
How do you
You know,
get
the funny
Blessed
thing
Champion?
is, BGH is...
Well, first you have to, not disenchant it when you get it from
Right,
a pack.
right.
And then put it in your deck. And then show
That's
up
the
at a
hardest
tournament.
thing to
That's a
do.
lot of steps,
A
Chris.
lot of steps.
I can't even do it myself.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really see any other out. I mean, even if she has like lay on hands, she'll still probably die.
I mean,
And there's no way to
Shredder,
kill off her
yeah.
own Shredder to do something. Like, Vitality Totem would be a way to try to survive, but
Yeah, can't
it's
block.
optimistic to say the least. And Cloud9's up 2-1.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's-
good position.
That's a nice confidence booster for Ecop too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
You don't want to go down 0-2 for your first game.
yeah,
Oh,
it
man.
feels bad, man. It feels
Look
bad,
at this party downstairs. we have
everyone
over there.
getting out of their nerd hunch positions, trying to straighten
Is
their
Trump
backs.
sitting on Trump? What is that?
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
No, he's
man.
laying. He has Trump W.
Oh man, that
frumping
Trump
on
face.
Trump.
Oh god.
Yeah, I can't
Oh,
even.
my God.
I can't even.
Oh
Yeah.
jeez.
I have
And of
Nox
course,
W
Dog
and I'm
is right
scared
there
of
to
this
stroke
is-
it for good luck.
I should. I don't want. I don't want to see that. Anymore.
No, anymore. Okay, can we please not go back to the living room, please? Production, if you're hearing this, like, just never again.
All right. Well, the situation is Cloud9's got twice as many points as.
They do. They're literally twice as good right now.
Twice
The way you put it, it's.
Yeah. But you know, that Warlock deck is still in it, and there's still a lot of plays. It's gonna come down to those last few decks, and if this Warlock deck doesn't get a decent run or a really good draw, then
it could lose to everything.
It might be one of those decks that's like, yeah, I don't want to play the Warlock because it doesn't match up well. It just happens to be that last thing you have to win with.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then it just doesn't win.
I'm just wondering if there's any variants on the Druid list, because some people have been experimenting with ramp-ish like decks, and maybe cutting a copy of Savage War, a copy of Combo. Totally.
What?
Yeah. Some people have been trying out like a slower list, and I wonder if you could actually bring that ever to a tournament, or if it's like mostly ladder specific because there's so much secret power.
You might be browsing the competitive Hearthstone subreddit a little too much, because not every deck there is like the top end.
Competitive
Like, some people are like, oh yeah, this is like top 10 legends.
No,
I'm
it's
like,
not.
you
No,
mean on the
it's
second
not.
day of the season.
Yeah. Second day.
Okay.
Never mind. Yeah, competitive Hearthstone is.
I think the last time I saw a good Druid without combo was when like Gara won DreamHack.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some ramp druids are really defensive, and some people were able to climb pretty effectively with it. But I think the meta has to be very specific for ramp druid to be very.
Yeah, in a conquest format like this.
And this is also
sense, right?
this is also a tournament format. So I mean, the combo is why Druid is targeting some other classes. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Do we pin Eloise on Freeze Mage or Tempo Mage? I feel like
We've
she's
seen
more of a
mostly
Tempo
Freeze Mage.
Really, from Eloise as well.
Haven't we?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think we've only really seen her play Freeze Mage. I think Hype was the one who brought Mage a couple times, and he played like Mech Mage or
that's
Tempo
right.
Mage.
Yeah, he's the one who kept bringing up like variants on the Mage deck.
Now the Mech Mage is still considered a pretty good deck, but I feel the Freeze Mage does a really good job of countering, like hard countering some of the decks out there, especially Paladin. It's just one of the very easy pickups. You almost can't lose that game.
It's difficult though, because Druid's still available, and I guess Hunter is gone. But even then, it was Face Hunter, so there was chances of that falling flat as well. And I think one thing though to be mindful of is the dynamic that Eloise, if she gets sent down, she loses again, she gets benched. Then Tempo Storm gets cornered, and if that's the case, same thing with Hyped, right? He can't lose too, so Gara might be the most likely to be sent.
Yeah.
So if we're Cloud9, maybe if you think that, you send whatever you think is best against Hunter.
Kolento would make sense, I think. If you expect the Hunter to come out, I mean, Druid is kind of risky because mid-range Druid versus mid-range Hunter can be a little bit of a gamble, where Zoo is almost an auto loss depending on how the deck is built, and then you've got Priest, which is obviously very consistent. So Kolento would make sense probably, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's at this stage where you still just send up your best deck, or whoever really wants to be playing.
Looks like Hyped is going to be double mind gaming C9, because if Priest was expected to come out, then Hyped would be the reasonable follow-up where you play Patron against Dragon Priest.
All right, well, we do know it's Patron, but we don't know if it's Dragon Priest, and I would expect really whatever from Kolento.
Yeah.
I think picking just Deathlord Priest is still good. I think Classic Control Priest is still fine these days. Dragon Priest I think is very popular, but I don't think it's strong enough that you can assume that everyone is playing it when you see Priest.
So what are you targeting if you bring Control Priest to the tournament? I guess Zoo.
Just really aggressive decks.
Yeah, you expect like not high,
but my guess would be that it's lower curve. It doesn't have Confessor Paladris. It would have like, I mean, Kolento really liked the Light Banes, for example, in the Dragon Main Sisters. Yeah. I wasn't sure if he was high on it. He even experimented with Divine Spirit, and it was very weird. I think he realized that wasn't effective. But one thing is for sure, I'm pretty certain that it's going to be Dragon Priest. He's told me he's liked the deck a lot. It fits more of his play style. He likes being more conservative, defensive, safe, make the absolute best plays.
Yet play with minions, right? Like that's what he says a lot. The minion-based Priest is definitely something Kolento's great at.
I don't think it's too great of a matchup against Patron War. I think it's all right.
Twilight Garden's a pretty good card. Chill Maul can be very effective, but there's always the problem of it being a little too slow sometimes to actually pressure, because it takes some time to ramp up its actual attack. Like Black Queen Corruptor takes a while to get going, and Azure Drake isn't even that good because you can just death bite both these minions down. So there are chances where you just don't put enough pressure and your opponent kills you, and you don't play Ysera expecting to win.
Right. But on the flip side, I mean, you do have the board clears. Holy Nova doesn't usually kill patrons, but the deck has a lot of spell power in it.
Light Bomb as well sometimes can help. However, if the warrior gets drawing good, like at a reasonable rate, there's sometimes almost nothing the priest can do. Interesting to note that Kalento has the Shrinkmeister and the Cabal Shadow Priest combination.
Yeah.
So very favoring that kind of mid-range control style.
Yeah, I think I've seen him play this just yesterday. He was grinding the ladder with it. Oh, that's a pretty decent top deck. If you want to play a Twilight Whelp, there's really no reason now that you picked up Ysera to keep the dragon for activator purposes.
Well, it just doesn't do much, but it probably does less later on when patrons come into play. So.
Yeah. It's funny because, like,
Right.
in a way, sometimes you'd rather have the Twilight Whelp be a 2-1 as opposed to a 2-3 because it survives less whirlwinds, it survives less patrons, stuff, like, if you get buffs on it. So there is a case where, like, if you throw out the Twilight Whelp, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-1 or 2-3, it's going to get Fiery War Axe.
Yeah.
So in this case, that buff is actually sometimes hard because it tells more about your hand.
Yeah, but if it is a 2-1, it can die to things like Armor Smith. Do you really want to burn a Shrinkmeister to deal 2 damage with like an Acolyte or an Armor Smith?
Not really.
So wasted.
You're going to want to steal other really valuable things. One thing that also is somewhat cool is the weird scenarios where you can use like Cabal Shadow Priest on things like the Warsong Commander, like stealing the Warsong Commander and doing some fun stuff with your own minions.
All right, well, it looks like the Acolyte's going to come down. It's going to be pretty sad here to get Shadow Word Pain.
Yeah, it's a pretty good target, though. I mean, you still want to Cabal Shadow Priest the Armor Smith later on if you don't want them to stack too much armor. It's never a too bad target. Wow, double Shrinkmeister from Kalento. A single one I've seen, but double is a...
That's really interesting. Yeah. So he must not be satisfied with only two drops. The Wormrest Agent is the only 2-drop normally in the Priest. Assuming that you have other mana cost spells like the Power Word or the Shadow Word Pain, but the Shrinkmeister's improves its early game consistency.
Yeah, this looks like a very minion heavy priest deck. Very heavy minion. Like this is, I mean, Shrinkmeister being kind of mixed in with dragons. I mean, the amount of cuts he must have made on the spell front, Nova.
I think the typical list kind of runs one.
One Shrink?
Yeah, I think you run 1 Shrink and 1 Pain just to have a little bit of flexibility.
As well, and...
Yeah, they're just effective cards that you can use in situations very flexibly, and it seems okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can assume much more craziness than we already see in his hand.
Yeah.
Just because there's not a lot of room in this deck. Mm-hmm. But if you do play like the double Shrinkmeister, if you do play Cabal, if you do play maybe one other card, you probably are cutting maybe a Holy Nova.
Yeah, I guess there might be an argument as well against Control Warrior, which tend to play Sarah in their deck now, where having the Shrinkmeister against them is pretty
So that feels bad.
Wow, that tempo double Shrink.
Yeah, he can't avoid the Acolyte drawing multiple cards. He's really afraid of the Death's Bite, so he's just going to try to do what he should do, which is load up the board and out-pressure the Warrior. But it's not too bad of an idea because there are no weapons from Hyped. He already inferred this from the lack of removal in the past couple turns.
The thing is, if it was a Death's Bite, it wouldn't really matter. The Acolyte would still only draw 2 cards.
It's true.
Alright, so still no kill on anything, just keep drawing cards.
He's gonna run into the Twilight Whelp, right? So that way you can draw.
Yeah,
I'd imagine. I mean, there's no reason to just lose the Acolyte right now. If you're looking to draw cards...
Why wouldn't he do that first?
Maybe he didn't want to play anything else. I mean, would he have played a War Axe if he found it probably, or does he want to load up the board with
he may have been looking for an Inner Rage to get rid of a 3/2.
Ah, makes sense.
I think that's a good call.
Oh.
2 Dark Cultists.
Yeah.
Very board centric. You know what if you just cut some of those early game spells that are very board
No, that's probably it. Yeah,
maybe
that's what
one
I think.
Valence chosen instead.
Makes sense actually. If you could play double cult, like one cultist instead.
Because he's got health buffs anyways for the Dark Cultist. He'd rather just go board control.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Inner Rage.
No weapons though, because those are the most important cards against Priest. I mean, you want to highlight some of the value in Patron and Frothing, but without weapons against Priest, Warrior does nothing, and it looks like there's a chance that Hyped simply can't find any.
Yeah, but he's still okay. Like
he can draw up. He can just go to 10 if he wants this turn.
Yeah, the Shield Slam as well from Hyped. I heard him mention how he didn't like it too much. Like yesterday, I think he was discussing it. He was like, "I don't like Shield Slam and Patron," and suddenly he's just running it. Yeah, Hype trying to...
He doesn't like it, he loves it.
He loves it, yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what the play here is. you can't draw 2 cards and play nothing, so you
Slam,
might
right?
play Frothing or just Shield Slam.
Yeah.
So you attack Battle Rage to 10 and then armor up Shield Slam the other 3 too.
I could see that. I mean, you can't use the Shield Slam with the Shield Block. Oh,
Slam.
You can't play the Slam. You're 10
Yeah.
cards right now.
Well, he gets slammed at 3-2 and just pass.
yeah.
But I mean, if he wants to capitalize on shield slam later because he has shield block, but I guess that's what you can use execute for. I mean, the whole point is that you're not really afraid of the big threats until you get to the very late stage of the game.
Do you steal this just because you can steal it?
I think you want to steal it. No, I think
There's
you
no
want.
brawl, right? So
Don't you want to steal the Warsong Commander though?
You generally do,
yeah.
but I think it's one of those scenarios where you're just trying to go for board tempo as much as possible. And the other alternatives float mana.
wow, no weapons yet for hyped.
I mean, it's a lot of cards. It's like a lot of stuff that happens.
Yeah, he's able to clear a few more creatures, but doing so is really bad because he's got to use Inner Rages.
Yeah, if he drew Emperor Thorson,
That
on
would
this
have been
turn,
insane.
I think it would have been one of those like, oh my god, maybe it's just game over because he had
With
two
the ghoul,
Frothings, with a stable ghoul and a Warsong Commander,
Yeah.
and a Grim Patron Thunder.
And double in a rage, you know. Casually, just extra damage.
Well,
So that might be the plan. The plan might be just to like cycle to.
yeah, it might be shield block time, I think.
You could play like, yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say like frothing with an inner
Oh,
rage.
this is gonna be a hype play. It's gonna be like something completely different.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
It's gonna be
go.
like double
Slamming
Inner
this and
Rage,
then-
slam double Inner Rage.
Double inner rage. Look for a whirlwind or find emperor. Oh,
Oh, interesting. So now you can execute the
wow. That's gotta hurt a
Cabal
bit.
Shadow Priest.
Or you know, the
Whoa,
2-1.
whoa, why did you do the execute?
So he's keeping this for the patron combo that he knows he's getting 2 turns down the line. He just needs to
Right.
survive until.
No.
Right?
Hype just shaking his head. No, he just realized he misplayed. He drew the
Okay.
execute and it threw him off. His other play was better with the
Yeah,
Inner
of
Rage
course.
because it pumped the Frothing the 5 attack and actually trading for the 4/5.
Yeah.
But with this play, it just dies for free.
And in this case, Colento's even gonna draw a card
You're
off
also
of it.
you're also gonna need execute more often.
White Guardian.
Yeah,
I think he might have misclicked as well. There's one of these weird scenarios where the cards
just
they
at the end of the
shift.
rope.
Yeah, when you cycle, it just like shifts.
Yeah.
And then like you try to grab it, and sometimes you grab the wrong card.
Yeah, I have Twisting Nether and empty boards.
Yeah, if you like draw very quickly, right?
At
Especially
10,
with
10 cards maybe intentionally.
I don't know. It's like
Oh, okay.
it's really sad. I don't know if it was that exact card, but I've done like complete waste.
All right. Well, Colento realizes like Hype is in panic mode. He's gonna play the most stuff he can.
Yeah, if he's executing a 2-1.
despite all of this, there's still a reasonable chance Hype can win. It's not
Yeah.
like impossible, but it's like starting to dwindle pretty
Yeah.
significantly.
The double shield block is going to carry
It's
him.
just one more turn, but he
Yeah.
needs more than one more turn right now.
Yeah, he needs to double shield block into like Emperor Thorson into something.
I think he needs to double shield block into the other execute.
Oh, that's not a bad card to pick up. I mean, you've got the War Song.
He needs execute here.
Yeah, the first execute would have been useful on the Cabal Shadow Priest.
No,
but no.
Call would have just been dead.
Yeah.
You just have execute.
Yeah.
Yep. But then you wouldn't have the inner range.
Yeah.
I know. I'm stating the
All
facts
right.
here, Crib.
All right.
That's what we do.
Alright.
That's what we do in court before
Right.
we declare someone guilty.
Okay.
At least
so
in America.
You're guilty, Crib.
The system of true justice.
Oh, hello. A little late, but I mean, there's always a. Is there a way for him to
No,
actually?
I think this is the play because you realize you need 2 turns. So he's thinking he probably needs value off of his hero power
Yeah.
to actually get 2 turns through armor.
That makes sense. I mean, you're getting an extra 4 instead of just getting the 2 shield blocks now and only 2 on the following turn. Well, that's a lot of damage coming from the
Ooh.
priest. Double Valence Chosen. That's not the cut he made, Frodan.
No,
I mean,
he didn't make the cut
you
either?
wouldn't make that cut if you had this many minions though, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Probably not.
Especially with a lot of early game minions.
Mm-hmm.
This is too much damage.
Oh, whirlwind.
War Song
And
Frothing.
Colento wisely buffed the Northshire Cleric so that Grim Patron can't do anything.
Is there a play here? I think there is. It's terrible though, but I think it's something like Warsong Ghoul double whirlwind.
Yeah, you've got a point. I mean, that might buy you. The time you need. Oh my god.
Does it? No, I actually think you're still
I don't
dead
think
because you
you're still
can't
dead
armor
'cause
up.
you can't. Yeah, you can't
I think
actually
you're still
armor up,
dead.
and you're taking an extra.
Can shield block, draw, execute, and then save you.
Would that save you?
You would go up to 15. Nope, 13 because you need a death by something. And
You don't need to display anything. No, I think that would save you.
It's no because the Valence Chosen on the other end would kill you.
Okay, but as far as
he sees.
yeah,
Brawl. Nope, not quite what he's looking for.
Unless
He's
he plays two.
Wait,
unstable
you
ghouls.
whirlwind and double ghoul, right?
If you play an unstable ghoul,
Is that enough to live? Just a single one?
8.
no, there's
No,
no absolute, there's
no
absolutely
way.
no
Yeah,
way.
there's absolutely no way. Oh wow.
There's
certainly not.
really absolutely no
Yeah.
way here.
No, it's officially over. Do you go for the BM?
Is this the
attack
Calento
first?
BM or is he's just thinking about what he wants for lunch?
Yeah.
Probably more of that Chick-fil-A that we got in the morning. Because that was pretty clutch.
All right. Okay.
Okay. That was such a good jokes.
All right. Well, Hype fails to win with Patron again.
Yeah, does that? I think he means he's benched.
No, I don't believe so. I think Eloise played prior to him with
But-
the secret.
Are you? I thought you had. If you just lose twice before winning.
I thought it was you had to lose twice in a row, so you send somebody out.
Yeah,
out
I think you have to
Oh.
lose twice in a row.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
it's not that punishing. That would just be. I mean, Team Celestial would have been 0-9.
Mhm.
Like it would have been way too bad.
Yeah.
0-9.
Yeah, it would have been like they would have managed to get 2 more losses. With that rule.
Alright. Wow. That's pretty
All right.
So, take it
Well,
over.
they're not here. We can make fun of the mics, right?
Yeah,
That's how it
right.
works. Okay.
I'll do it later.
All right.
PR.
E-Cup.
You have 2 check marks on one player too early.
Yeah.
It's like it's better if it was 1 point for each player. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But look at the match.
And with some of the decks maybe having an issue with some win conditions, as we talked about, I kind of certainly ahead, but
It's not over.
Yeah.
it's very far from over right now.
Druid is a fine play. Like Strife Pro, Druid, and Paladin are fine, but the Zoo I still like. If it is Freeze Mage from Eloise, it makes the entire thing even worse.
It's just still only one game, though.
Yeah.
The
Well, the
challenge here
freeze-
is to win with everything.
Yeah, the phrase is going to beat the Paladin as well. I mean,
Right.
you can't lose to that.
Yeah.
You
really can't lose. You have to try.
Know. You have to, like the Paladin has to get incredibly lucky,
Yeah.
and you have to basically only get card draw with the freeze mage. To
Well,
lose.
you have to play like Thais did in the last game, where you just drew like 3 out of 11 cards that didn't win the game,
Okay.
where the 8 other ones did.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it can happen, but it's really, really rare.
Do you think the off of like your secrets.
Yeah, because they always get negated immediately.
All right, but her deck is like a bit slower. She's not going to run out of cards.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's a good matchup against the Druid. I think it's a good matchup against the Zulok. I think it's probably a bad matchup against the Paladin because I think in those like hyper Secret Pally versus Secret Pally matches, the slightly faster one tends to win.
Yeah.
And her deck is pretty slow.
Sure.
Is it that slow? We haven't seen like Shredders and Belchers.
We exactly saw Shredder.
Yeah. Oh no, we didn't see that. Oh, that's right. We didn't see like the Doctor, but we saw Shredder.
Yeah. But Shredder is slow for that deck, I think.
For that deck. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think most lists nowadays play mid-range style.
I don't know.
Tend to spread it out.
It's flipped. For me, in my mind, there's no most of anything. Like
really?
Yeah.
I've seen mostly mid-range, so I guess maybe.
I don't know. Like every second day, I see like a completely new Secret Pally list.
Yeah. All right. Well, the head-to-head, as you said, if Strivecrow is playing more of an aggressive one, we saw Kalento played in Starladder, a very aggressive Pally. So maybe that's what Strivecrow brought.
All right. Yeah, I think Strifecrow, even though he's played mid-range Pally a lot, I think it's more risky to play that. But Strifecrow has been like he's been sticking to his guns in a lot of these in the past. So
yeah,
I actually wouldn't put it past him to run a mid-range Pally here.
I think Cloud9's been one of the least experimental teams in the team phase. Well, like Tempestone was the most, I think, because they brought like all kinds of different decks. And then Cloud9 seemed to just pick the same kind of decks every single week. Like Ecop would generally pick Zoo, and then Kalento would usually bring like Patron, or he'd bring maybe Rogue, or in this case Priest. And Strifecrow would always bring Paladin for some reason, and always be like mid-range Paladin, he'd win.
Yeah, but I think it's still not a bad deck now.
Pretty well with
it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it got an improvement, I guess, with Murloc Knight, if you want to play that card in mid-range. So you could still, I guess, run the deck and do well.
I don't think he actually did exceptional with Paladin, but I think people just expected him to lose because at the time Paladin was like that 7th, 8th class type of area. So the fact that he made it work.
Looks like it could be either a very polarized...
It could be
it's
straight up mid range.
It's also just very possible it's Secret Pally here.
Yeah, Coghammer
it is Secret Pally.
Do you play Silence though in Secret Pally?
You can play Silence in Secret Pally if you don't play Divine Favor, and I mean the bottom is Eloise's hand, isn't it?
No, it's
the
right.
top.
Oh, my mistake.
Okay,
Eloise. You're right.
Consecration's also a big deal too, especially in Retaliation and Mustard.
Oh, equality. Okay, yeah.
This is a mid-range.
He's playing mid-range.
I like mid-range against Secrets. I think it's actually possibly better even than a Secret head-to-head.
I don't know.
Because you do run the AoE, you do have the Aldor for the Mysterious Challenger. You're gonna get a lot of the big swing turns where they get an unmanageable minion.
One thing that will be nice is if like Blessing of Kings or Revenge does land and he has silence for it. But the problem is he doesn't have mini bots, so he's basically behind on board from this point on, and that's a really scary thing against a much quicker Paladin that already has things like Consecration to immediately answer your muster for battle.
Yeah, this Consecration from Eloise is going to play a big role, I think, in just stabilizing the board.
Well, she has her own muster for battle too. That's even better because she's going to have board.
No, that's what answers anything he plays. Like there's nothing that Strevko can play that sticks on the board.
Yep.
So he plays the Owl here just to make sure that
that's painful.
It's the most aggressive play, but it still gets punished.
Yeah, because the muster is very strong.
Uh-oh.
No, I think the muster is just it. You can Haunted Creep.
Reporting for duty.
Shredder and then turn 5 Mysterious Challenger. That's pretty scary if you're on Strapcore's perspective once that falls.
Let me think. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty. I wonder.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
think
like that as well.
3 into phase.
Put this apple on your head.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah. Sometimes
Move quickly.
That's true.
And then this forces the true silver. That gives her.
Let me think.
the more it seems to make sense. I mean, it
Pretty
also
smart.
gives like a lot of weaving in of dudes in the future if she wants.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. Must move quickly. Follow the rule. Job done. Reporting for duty. Who am I? None of your business.
Also gets more painful because every single minion that gets played is, you know, except for the anti. Redemption. If Avenge lands onto the,
There's so many juggles here that you have no idea.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Like, you
like
get the
this
juggle
to
off of that. No, it's gonna.
Get down!
Challenger.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Must move quickly. Job done. Reporting for duty.
Juggler's seen some stuff, man. It's been through equality, it's got Peacekeeper, it got buffed from the competitive spirit.
Yeah, it's in communism, right?
Yeah. It's been a rough life.
Yeah, poor guy.
You're just trying to make a little. I mean,
I think.
I say do it again. Just Peacekeeper the Juggler one more time.
Yeah, I mean,
just for old time's sake.
It's a 1-2 double piece keep juggler after equality and
And
competitive
you just
spirit.
silence it to end everything.
Oh
And
man.
it's back to Bloodfin Raptor.
Oh, that needed to be consecration, I think.
Yeah.
I just feel no. It needs to be a Doomsayer.
No, I mean he needed to draw a consecration.
I think he needed the True Silver last turn. And that was really the end of that. I think he's going for Doomsayer right now.
No, he's
not.
going for the slow play once more.
Is he dead?
Okay.
There's
No.
6,
No, I
7,
don't think
8.
he is.
There's
Okay, is that?
He can't play
he
concentration.
can't play Consec, so he's still alive technically.
5,
Is he?
7, 11.
Yeah, he's a one
11.
off. I think 1 off. Maybe I'm bad at math. I'm probably bad.
No,
at math.
I think
No,
you're
he
right.
has more than that.
I think he's 11 right now. And so if she has 11, excuse me, Eloise can truce over twice, but then the antique healbot, does that save Strife Crow? He's gonna need an antique healbot plus something else.
Scar
Coghammer,
Purifier.
maybe.
Coghammer could be very useful.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then if Eloise sets up the redemption and noble sacrifice, is that... No, that's not really that significant for the redemption.
You kinda
You might
ignore
just
them.
1-1.
Yeah. She's just gonna try to maximize the Lies Justice damage. You might as well, right? Since you've got Trusarter. I mean, it depends
Yeah.
how you look at this.
The only way, Eloise could have lethal is if she somehow had Shredder pops, into, Flame Totem. I don't even know. But maybe not even then.
Oh yeah, Shredder positioning. How did we not just harp on it like we usually do?
It's just less likely that
Okay.
will work, right?
Yeah.
It's less bad now with
Yeah,
GTA.
it's definitely more...
Ooh.
I mean,
Wow.
That changes nothing.
it basically resets the turn.
Yeah.
No, he gets another turn, and he is more likely to draw into a board clear, which is the only way he has any chance in this game.
Leon's 8, right? So it goes to
Yeah.
14.
14 health, and he's still above
3,
lethal, I think.
6, 8, 12.
No, the
he
consecration
dies to
steals it. He's
consecration.
dead. Yeah, Consec kills him.
It's Doomsayer, boys.
Yeah.
No, he can't. It's a noble sack.
Oh, you're right. A noble sacrifice. I mean, that was...
It's good that there's 3 of us here.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many
Thank
secrets.
Nobody sees the full picture.
One at a time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm still just working on part.
Yeah.
I think that's it, right? Shrefko can't... Oh, no, he heals from the...
True Silver if you attack,
No,
but he
but
takes the damage back.
He
noble
takes the 2 from the
sacrifice.
noble sack.
sacrifice.
Oh, hello, Consec.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's pretty unfortunate. Consecration was just 2 cards off.
Yeah. Well, Cloud9 is probably just gonna have to lose that.
So he's gonna hope no consecration.
Yeah, definitely. No consecration, no damage.
The fact that he
actually.
didn't attack though also had a lot of inherent risks. Like, what is this competitive spirit? But
Yeah.
I think he realizes I die anyways to competitive spirit
Yeah.
and avenge, so I can't clear any minion. So in this case, I just better hold because 3 out of the 4 possible secrets it would be just kills.
Yeah, but if you want to play super defensively, then you just attack face, because that only triggers
Noble
sack, and
True.
it's a neutral outcome.
Unless it's eye for an eye, then you take 4 damage to yourself.
Yeah, but then you end up on YouTube, right?
Yeah,
It's
I guess so. You
Yeah,
have immortality.
Exactly.
You're gonna get a raise because it's smart.
I have a lot of.
I knew Eye for an Eye was a good one.
That's right. The first time it got major value. Even though realistically it would have been dead either way. Almost any secret there was.
So are the games boring, or are these people just bored?
Huh? No, they're on a 10-minute delay. They're still watching.
Oh, they're still watching the stream.
Yeah, they're still
Okay,
watching the beginning of that.
Also,
game.
most of the things in that room are just way too comfortable to care about anything
Yeah,
else.
I think you're right.
There's 2 love sacks and a bunch of lazy boy chairs.
Who love sacks?
Yeah, that's
it's
what they're
that
called.
big
It's a brand of
beanbag that
big
you just
beanbag.
lay in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're called love sacks.
Thanks for enlightening me. All right. Moving on. So Cloud9's got 3-2. I mean, he's got a 1.5.
A very
That's
big
better
win.
than their opponent.
Well, this is where things can go extremely badly for
Right.
Cloud9, because
Again, another really big information reveal on Cloud9's part. It's just a straight up mid range paladin.
it's not just that. It's right now the bench rule is in full
Yeah,
swing.
they can't
because
actually
if
go in.
Strifecrow plays again and loses, then Ecop is stuck on Warlock,
Yeah, and then
which means that you just give 2 points to Tempo Storm, right?
I mean, you just avoid playing Druid, and then you just you kill Ecop twice,
Yeah.
and then.
But mid-range Pally with Patron as
Wait.
well. That's also a big problem for them.
How does that work? So if Strefka loses here again, and then Ecop loses twice in a row, Temple Storm's on 5, and there's 2 players benched, and Kalento can't play anymore. So then does Ecop keep playing, or both
That's a
players
great
can?
question. I'm guessing it just
Maybe they just bring Kalento out, and they just push Ecop,
But
and
they
Psycho
couldn't-
aside, and Kalento just plays
I
every
see.
deck.
and he plays the
Yeah.
zoo, right? He takes all the decks and he powers them as he wants.
Yeah, move over Scrubs. It's Kalento time.
Yeah. The double check mark kind of testifies
I mean,
for that.
realistically, Cloud9's still leading. They still can be in a decent
It's just
spot.
they're in a really bad spot technically.
Yeah, in terms of the bench rule. So do you send Ecop here now out of fear of the bench rule?
Well,
I think you do.
might as well. I mean, you're going to lose.
The
to
risk
Zoo if
is
you get
so
benched,
high
right? Yeah.
if
And then-
Strifecrow plays and loses.
I mean, also, I think you're pretty happy to see that it's mid-range Paladin too. So now, that Patron Warrior has even a bigger chance here. So I think like Hype just choose Patron Warrior again. I think it should be fine.
The only bad matchup-ish is maybe Druid, and that would have to be... Like, maybe Zoo sometimes can actually get out of hand sometimes. You're right.
It's definitely the hardest matchup on paper based off what you see there. So I think that could be... Like, if the worst is like 50-50, then I think it's a pretty good chance.
Yeah, somebody says that Tempo Eloise is looking very serious playing. She looked tired, more so than serious.
It's a lot of money on the line, too. I think, there's a lot of pressure for players who are also remote because they're, like, not with the team, so they have to communicate on Skype, and it's not, like, very reliable, and you're in a different time zone, so you're tired. It's just you don't have the support of everyone here at the house.
All right. Regardless of who picks what, there's just a lot riding on the next match here. Well, next game.
This could be a turning point.
Yeah, it probably is going to be actually like just even if ECOP ends up losing with Zoo or EQing Zoo.
Oh my!
So this makes a lot of sense. It's one of those things where like
this is the high risk though.
Yeah. So like Cloud9 recognizes that they might bring the best chance of which is Warrior, the Patron Warrior, and then they try to bring their best deck against that. So so basically. Tempo Storm went to the next level of guessing that they would avoid the bench, and then Cloud9 went to the next level of like, let's pick the best class against what they would interpret the best class is.
So Cloud9's kind of ahead of the mind games, but it doesn't mean they're going to necessarily be ahead of the entire matchup. If they lose this, it's going
they're ahead in the game, but the weight in losing is just enormous.
Yeah, let's hope Hype doesn't feel too affected, I guess, by that play that he made earlier, which we highlight. I don't even know if it was a misplay still to this point. We assume yes, because he seemed to be a little angry or disappointed.
I think it's pretty realized that it was a misplay.
Let's just hope it doesn't affect him. I think he's a pretty composed player in general.
Yep. I mean, with the way that he plays, he takes very strange lines of play. But there's a reason why he's on a team playing for a lot of money right now. It's because usually those strange line of plays overall lead to more victories.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes it fails. That's just one of those times.
Yeah, and Hype did have the second highest win rate in the regular season. He was right behind Brian Kibler, and it came down to the last day of the regular season where they played Value Town. And Hype dropped a couple games. Kibler got his games in. So Hype performed very well during the regular season, as well as Chalky, I believe. I think those are the top three.
Yeah, Chalky was up there, but since he didn't make through, even if he had the best score, he still wouldn't have been able to get matchup duels. So Darnassus Aspirant. So Savage Combatant. I assume a lot of Druid lists now run a one of. I haven't seen too many decks run two of them.
The Savage.
Yeah, Savage Combatant. Have you seen much of it?
Actually, I have not seen much Druid when I've played online.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I've hit a lot of Druids, but that's just because I've had to control. I had to be playing Control Warrior.
Right.
And
I see.
the Blizzard employee sees, Frodan's queuing Control Warrior. Let's have him hit a bunch of the Druids. Every single Druid.
Whoa! Flame Juggler.
Okay.
There we go, Secret Paladin.
I think one of the first types of Druid that we've seen. I think Nimsh played
was like
Flame Juggler Druid.
With Druid the Saber and everything. That was like the craziest.
And I think people tried the card and realized it's actually not that bad. It's kind of like the Knife Juggler for decks that don't actually have creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way to look at Flame Juggler is not through a Knife Juggler lens of like the random damage, but to think about it as early game board control for a deck that doesn't necessarily excel in it, and you definitely need that early game board. So because it does a little bit of board impact, and it's 2/3, so it stays alive generally speaking against the 1-drops. So it's a really effective board control card. And this is something that I talked with Strifecro for a little bit. He was like, he doesn't understand why people call it Flame Juggler.
Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, I was gonna say
not bad.
good job from Strifecro playing around the Fire War Axe by not going for Darnassus Aspirant and maybe getting punished and not ramping. But there was no War Axe. It would have been really rewarded by this if Hype didn't just get it.
Darnassus Aspirant coming out.
Oh, well, that's
so literally
the eye roll.
So just Divine Shield. You just killed the Divine Shield with it. That's 12 damage from the Pilot Shredder.
It is, but the damage is not that relevant because usually the warrior can win before the druid.
Sure.
Yeah, and the Flame Juggler is maybe a liability sometime in the mid game. Do you ever just play it now for the 1 damage phase? Because I mean, against Patron, I don't think.
Why is it such a risk to play the Darnassus Aspirant? Because you deal so much more damage.
I mean, because he's gonna kill the Darnassus and leave the Succubus alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Do more damage.
Right. I mean, there's no drawback really. It's all about whether or not you're afraid of that ping just going wrong in an Acolyte of Pain or yeah.
Well, he does have the Inner Rage and the Grim Patron, but no Whirlwind effect on that turn. So Hyped has to evaluate and balance if he wants to use the coin here for like Gnomish Inventor. And if he doesn't, then what does he do as a
He can just play the Ghoul.
It's weak to Keeper though. If you go for coin Gnomish,
The Ghoul just stops 3 damage and takes away maybe some tempo from the hero power.
Cool. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it makes sense. The tempo removal I think is a good point.
I like keeping the coin though, just for options for the Grim Patron.
Oh hey, combos in hand. All
Yeah,
Doctor Boom in the
but that's
combo.
The idea here is also that if Strefkro was unwilling to remove it with his hero power, then he would get another Grim Patron.
Oh, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. That's a good point.
All right, so the Aspirant's still not contested.
I think Gnomish comes down here because I think if you coin Inner Rage Grim Patron, there's a high likelihood your opponent can just deal with it because it's a 5-2 and a 3-3.
Yeah, it's probably not good enough at this stage.
Now it's also getting somewhat scary because
you're taking a lot of damage as Warrior though. Like, how do you
if
stop
Strike
this
has
damage?
two Savage Roars, is that like game?
I
think
we'd
it
be
is.
looking at an extra 12.
Well, I think
that'd be lethal actually. Another
Hype is
Savage
thinking
Roar.
about Inner Raging the Flame Juggler right now, so that would deny that.
Yeah.
That'd be a legitimate thing to do, but then what is Drew gonna normally do on 6 also? That might give something problematic. Because if you kill off the Flame Juggler, you also keep the Gnomish Inventor alive, which is really nice.
I mean, even Druid of the Claw charging here would be an issue, right? Like, that's another 4. They don't even have to, like, use Savage Roar with it. They can just punch you in the face for 4 and have another minion you can't handle.
Well, he's going to want to drop Thorson next turn, so that way he has stuff the following turn. So he has to evaluate if taking this damage from the Flame Juggler is worth it. I don't think so. I think you've got enough in your hand here.
Alright. Oh!
Oh.
Is it that deck?
What was that enough to lethal with Savage
That
Roar?
would have been 6 plus 8.
Yeah, 6 plus 8. Nope,
That's
not
14.
quite. Not quite. But still,
Yeah.
that's basically enough when you have Doctor Boom and Force of Nature to follow.
I mean, without a Ghoul, this 3-2 with stealth is
The thing is, like,
probably-
I love Doctor Boom so much. And when I see Grim Patron, it's like I feel safe
Right.
because they play their patron
Right.
combo, and it's always that first patron that dies.
Yeah, or the War Song, you're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not happening. If it happens later in the game, it's kind of...
What's also a little bit frightening too is if these Darnassus Aspirant dies, then Dr. Boom doesn't come down next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So Shrevecrow is maybe thinking about taking out the
Oh, wow.
Force of Nature.
The Gnomish Inventor.
Could be, it's a possibility.
I mean, I like pushing damage just because you already have the
Or
combo set
you
up,
just
but-
Savage Roar here. It's not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, you're pushing for Savage Roar damage. If you want to kill that 2-4, you can with the 2-1.
Yeah, I think this is so that he can ensure Dr. Boom next turn.
All right.
I like this play. I really like it.
So we're assuming basically that Doctor Boom plus the Force of Nature should be enough to
Right.
carry through.
And I think this won't stop Hype from playing Thorson. And then Shrevecrow plays Boom, and then we're gonna see if the good old Grim Patron shenanigans can carry it home.
It seems like the pressure of Stripecrow really put too much of a clock on Hype.
Yeah.
I think Hype is, again, like 1 or 2 turns away from actually catching up.
I think the Pilot Shredder drop might have helped a lot. to
Right,
get
the
damage in.
4-3. That's another really huge amount of damage. Wait, that's a lot more damage as well.
That's not enough mana to play everything, though. I think he's still Doctor Boom.
Yeah. Well, it's Twitch chat lethal at least, right?
The Boom is better, but you can't even do these 2 spells over the next 2 turns anyways. So, like reasonably, your opponent will be able to armor up and get out of range. Like, you have to swipe hero power.
I don't-
Force of Nature hero power.
I don't think you know how boombots work.
I'm saying, if
Proof has faith.
if Shrevecrow was to go for spells lethal, I
Yeah.
don't think he'd be reasonable.
All right, well,
Now the question is, how does Strifecrow lose?
oh, it just Warsong Commander,
Yeah.
Grim Patron, very lucky bombs.
The bombs hit the patrons for 1 damage. That's
Yeah.
how this.
But no, like he almost... Yeah, I guess they would have to kill everything.
Oh, I thought you killed a 2-3 first. Why not? Why wouldn't you kill a 2-3 first?
One more patrons. Oh, wow, that's very good for him.
Yeah, because now he can kill. I think he's going to use the last patron.
Oh, he's trying to spawn as few patrons as possible, so they're on 1 health after the 2-3.
Kind of. Now he needs this to not. He didn't kill Thorson. He needs to not kill the War Song as well.
Oh my god!
And that's going to allow him a full board clear. That is so huge.
This is completely insane. Can Striker take this though? I mean, I think Force of Nature Hero Power into swipe is lethal no matter what. But there might be a Battle Rage into shield blocks because we've seen 2 earlier.
But now he can't clear the board. Like the swipe is so bad.
Yeah, he has Battle Rage to draw so many cards.
Right, he might find a shield block here.
I guess you did know how
no.
boombots work.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
Oh, that's how my boom box works.
Is it?
Yeah, that's not how mine works. I just played Dr. Boom and the patron's dead.
Yeah.
Might as well concede.
Because that boom box, if it hit face enough, that was lethal.
Yeah.
Right, it
If
would
it
have
hit
been.
3 damage to face,
That was it.
lethal.
Well, Strife Crow can clear a few of these patrons.
Oh my god.
Do you even? I mean, I think Force of Nature to face into swipe is like your best bet because you can always swipe Hero Power and hope you win. I don't very much see a way to clear and win.
Actually, next turn you have Force of Nature
Plus
and
Power of the
Wild.
Wild. Yeah, do you hold on to
Would
that?
you like?
what if you
risk
just swipe
swiping
face?
facing now?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
I would do that
But
because
you know, Hype plays 2 shield blocks, so he battle rages. He gets like so many cards, and he's gonna definitely.
Yeah, but you
have the
can't
ability.
you can't die to anything. Like, Hype has to kill his own creatures.
Oh man.
is this a swipe on the face? I want it to be.
It is. He's gonna try to do 9 damage next turn, and if Hype draws 1 battle rate or 1 shield block, he's out of range.
If he doesn't find a shield
Wait,
block and then his
why
next,
why did he kill the Grim Patron then?
He wanted. Wait,
yeah,
yeah, he created more patrons, right? This one.
Yes,
yeah, to flood the
there would
board
have
so
been
there's
one
no
patron
frauding.
less, and he
So there's
did
no frauding, I think.
No, but so there's no. Okay.
Yeah, because you can't play frauding and then die.
You'd have to
be
kill
able
off your own creature, is what I was
Right.
saying. Okay.
So Hype might actually slam his own patron just for an extra battle rage draw, so he can get shield block. I think.
So
Like-
well, you might want to start. Yeah, thing is like, how many shield blocks do you expect to get?
Wait, what?
I think he has. I think he has
Armor
lethal.
Oh, does he have lethal?
I think so.
Oh, because we're not counting how much damage
Right.
he has. Yeah, we're
We're
like,
like-
does he have shield block? He might just win through this point.
Never
alone.
mind. Patron is fine. It still works, right? It still kills people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, what a game! Absolutely crazy.
The lines of play these players took were absolutely, like, I wouldn't say flawless, but based on the circumstances, it looked like none of them made a
Man.
mistake.
What a tough game for Shrevko to swallow too. That means he's
Yeah.
benched.
Yeah,
That means
Ecop has
Ecop
to
has
play
the Zoo
Warlock.
Warlock.
I think it's
Means
tougher for
if
Ecop.
Tempo Storm has the perfect deck to kill it, they can get a 4-3 lead even though being down.
Well, I
3-1.
think they do. I think Eloise is playing Freeze Mage just as he has like
Yeah,
the whole
probably.
season.
I mean, I don't know. All I know was every single member of Temple Storm came to me today, except Gara, and said that they're not sure about their decks.
Okay.
Okay.
So they're like, I'm not sure if they'll do well today.
So that's a little. You get some insider information about their insecurities.
Yeah. Too much irony that that Strifeco was one of the pioneers to introduce Dr. Boom to us, and today he's been
Failed him.
betrayed.
Betrayed.
He's been betrayed.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is 3-3. It is evened up, and Strifecrow is benched. I would love to see the bench on camera,
Yeah.
but I don't know if we have that set up.
No, we do. We have remote cameraman. Time to get the bench shot, guys.
Yeah, we need to see Strifecrow
Yeah.
feeling miserable on the bench alone.
Yeah.
No.
And then Colento's like sitting there next to him just to be.
He's
like,
just
a
on
good
his
teammate.
iPad. He's like,
Consoling. Yeah, Konto would probably be playing on the iPad.
Yeah, just showing him how to actually play Dr. Boom, like showing him this is what Boombots
The
actually
Boombot
do.
should be going there for like the face there. That's where he goes. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, Ecop has to play Warlock.
That's 2 wins
Warlock.
for Temple Storm. Basically.
Well, yeah, he basically has to play it until he wins,
yeah, which
he's probably going to eventually.
Yeah, it'll eventually hit the Druid.
Yeah,
But
it'll have to hit
Hunter-
the Druid at least, and it's
Yeah.
favored
Hunter
against
is
that.
good against Zoo still.
And Freeze, I think, is
Yeah.
is really good.
yeah.
Oh,
But
And-
oh,
he's going outside? No.
Oh, there it is.
He has to
it's
watch
not
in
that punishing.
isolation.
You can see things, or they should have made it low enough that you don't see TV. And you have
Wait, he gets to use his phone on
what?
the bench?
That's not a bench.
Yeah, take that away from him. What?
Yeah. What is
Make him
this?
suffer.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
has to be like the corner in like elementary school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then there's never
no
gonna be-
activities, no
That's
fun
true.
allowed.
The next Amaz organized tournament.
In
never
fact, he has to
sees
face the
anyone.
wall.
Yeah, he has to face the wall.
Just go into the corner. Oh, poor Strifecrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, poor guy.
He got punished, and both of his decks have been revealed too. Like again, more information. Like some of these decks have some very interesting choices in
Yeah.
it. And now you know, it's like oh, he's playing Drew the Saber. He's playing really weird. I mean, Gara is seeing the stream as well as the game's going on. He knows he has Power of the Wild. So like these are interesting tech choices that help feed more information versus like oh, Hype lost with Patron. Oh
Yeah,
wait,
it doesn't
I
tell
guess
you anything.
we still have to watch out for
What,
patrons.
what do you think the Power of the Wild is now that you actually bring it back to light? It feels like StrifeCrow. We talked about how he invented like Doctor Boom being
Right.
good and stuff, but I'm pretty sure he also pioneered Violet Teacher Druid.
He was one of the people really pushing for Token Druid
Mhm.
back in the day. I think first of all, it was like a guy named Nick Speets.
I remember
There-
Nick.
you know what I'm
Demon.
talking about.
I don't know. I
There's-
remember like
there's-
2 names.
I'm
back
I'm really
and
sorry
forth
that I
beta.
don't got his name right,
Yeah.
but it was a guy named Nick somebody, and he created the Violet Teacher token and won an open tournament with it. And then a few other players started really taking it to the next level. Like he was playing like Imp Master, for example, and then
Oh, I was
Saturn
playing that
Dwarf.
crappy version of Mana
But
Open.
yeah, and then
That was a
then,
crappy version.
and then people realized Violet Teacher's all you really needed.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's playing other things like Argent Horse Rider, like really aggressive cards. Because why would you play stuff like the Druid of Saber unless you're trying to go for early game board control? You have to have like the Living Roots.
Yeah, well, you're mentioning, I think Mark of the Wild also is a pretty good pick. If you're playing Living Roots, if you're playing Druid of the Saber, maybe there's Mark of the Wild in there. Even the sisters, I wouldn't be surprised if there's Mark of the Wild. I've seen Kalento theorycraft something along those lines as well. So
All right. Well, it's pretty interesting. They sent out Gara's Hunter. I mean, when you in this situation, you literally send out your best matchup, right?
Yeah, so I guess they feel like this is the best matchup.
yeah.
Hunter versus Warlock is pretty hard for the Warlock, especially if it's a Hunter that curves well, and you're gonna always be able to go even in board or even a little bit better because of Unleash the Hounds.
That's a pretty good hand from the Hunter. Less so from Ecop. Oh, it's getting better though.
Yeah.
I'm kind of liking it. I mean, it's forcing the Hunter to surrender some tempo to deal with the Juggler.
Gar's playing Bear Trap, of course. His #1 card of the set.
Really, that much?
He thinks Bear Trap's the best card in the set.
Interesting.
At least he did
I
on week
I
1.
played 2 of them and I hated it.
Really, one of them I love.
He
Two
thinks
of
it's
them I
like
think is overkill.
he just thinks it's really sick.
Okay.
I mean, even if it's the best card in the set, I think he plays only one.
Oh man, we have the Gara posture here.
Life Coach.
Oh my god, what happened now?
Life Coach cosplay.
Is that where he is? I didn't see him this morning.
He's actually spending time. I think he's not even here. I think he just like went out with a nice breakfast with his wife.
Okay.
Okay.
Went out into town because hanging out in Plano, Texas. You're only gonna be here once in your life, so you got to make the best of it.
Yeah.
You
Makes
never
sense.
come back.
Because you're never gonna want to come back. Oh, burn.
All right. No, I thought it was pretty cool.
Do you want to quick shot this so you can prevent?
Yeah, you want to just
stupid
kill
stuff?
everything.
You have to get that Bear Trap out and force the Warlock to feed you a free 3/3.
Sure.
I mean, he might play Snake Trap as well. We've seen a lot of Beast Druids play the Snake Trap.
Okay. Well,
Unless it's
if anything, we've
Beast
seen
Hunter, sorry,
Oh.
not Beast Druids.
it is snake trap, but we've seen just variations of traps. Like these days, we don't really see like just double freeze or just double explosive too
Yeah.
much. It's always like if
For some reason, when I see Bear, I expect Snake. They seem to go hand in hand when people play them. It seems that you just shove all the minion spawning traps to get Beast synergy, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like...
yeah. Snake Trap works really well with Bear Trap too.
oh wow, double Doomguard.
Well,
That's
that's
a
pretty
decent
nasty. It's a Void Caller, can get off, but we do know there's owls and whatnot in the deck. And now the Snake Trap has been revealed.
Yeah, you're hoping there's no owl in Gar's hand right now if you're Ecop, because that would be devastating.
The thing is though, like, what do you play if you're Gara? Like that Shredder looks all right now, but it would be devastating to play. I guess too.
Well, if you get 2, I guess it's fine, right?
It's still okay, because like the Doomguard comes out, the Doomguard's going to go phase, and then he can deal with the Doomguard afterwards.
There's gonna be 2 Doomguards, isn't there?
That's true.
Yeah, okay.
There's a
maybe-
chance of 2 Doomguards here.
Right, maybe that's...
Unless he
maybe-
pulls up another demon here.
Oh!
Well, does that change anything? Because you just eat it up?
That's true. He could play the
Nah, it's
the
kind
Void
of
Terror and
awkward.
eat it.
Yeah.
It's definitely seems to be preferable because you can guarantee get a Doomguard out.
Well, do you ever consider just slowing down and going for Implosion, or is that too slow? Because there's a lot of 1/1s.
I think
you
it's
might
too
wanna
slow.
keep
You're
out.
starting to lose a lot right now.
Okay.
yeah.
That's what I was even thinking about double Doomguard, but I think the Void Terror is okay because it's a huge body on the board.
Yeah.
And
6/6.
your Void Caller didn't get silenced. Instead, actually, they played into Void Caller. So
Yeah.
the Hunter doesn't have that many options. And I think the Void Terror works.
And then there's Lice Champion and Gar's Hunter and Sansa's a
I
demon.
mean, he still keeps double Doomguard by doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does, but like he's kind of incentivized to tap, or it's like kind of a bit of an inefficient turn. I guess ultimately it's about as good as double Doomguard, except you just have the other Doomguard. So
Yeah. Well, one thing that can also throw this out in the whack is we don't know if Gar is running like 1 Bear Trap, 1 Freezing Trap, 1.
One of each.
Yeah,
Just like the
and then that
Prismatic
like
Hunter.
also makes it really difficult.
Yeah.
So you can deal with
you
deal with the board.
do you
but
deal?
how would you deal it? Would you deal it? You have a lot of direct damage.
Yeah. Argus would
10,
wreck you,
12.
and he has Argus.
Yeah, that is true.
We've seen too many people go full face, maybe like 20-ish HP, and then get punished by
I
Argus.
kind of at least like kill command on the 6/6.
And then just traded the spider into it.
Yeah, spawn more stuff. I mean,
Yeah, that gives you opportunity to develop another Haunted Creeper as
Yeah.
well. And then you still have some pretty good options.
yeah. And then we're gonna see Demon Wrath and Zeus soon enough when that kind of deck gets picked up.
Dread
You see
Steed comes out of
Secret
nowhere.
Paladin starts
Also,
playing a lot of
the other
cards
play to
and-
save kill command isn't that bad either. Just to
Yeah.
to bow
The bow,
down the Doomguard with the 4/3.
That's what I was
'Cause
thinking.
You're not going to get a defensive trigger on the Shredder.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point. Is he going face?
No, he's going for. Oh, he is.
Well,
Oh boy.
Defender of
This
Argus.
is going to suck for him.
Well, then again, he does have kill command for the face, and his opponent's pretty low on health. I guess you have to pick
Yeah,
up
I
a bit
guess
more
he's-
direct damage.
He's pegging on the fact that his opponent doesn't have Defender of Argus.
Exactly, Argus. Because he's already played two.
But
Void
I mean,
Walker.
Ekop's
Walker,
played
yeah.
with like 4 less mana the past couple turns, and he does have kill command to get through.
Right, so is he dead? If one of the 2 minions stay up,
Oh man, Argent Horse Rider. I think that's
a
pretty useful,
big card, yeah.
right? Does that help him get through?
With the kill
No, I
command,
think he's
might.
dead.
You sure?
Or two, yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
he-
one
he-
damage short from being.
Yeah,
He
he's
can't
dead.
use the bow to actually trade.
No,
so-
no,
He
Planet
need-
Shredder.
Yeah, he needs a Shredder.
Shredder to get a Bluegill Warrior.
If he gets a
Flame
if he gets a
Tongue.
flame tongue, he wins the game, I believe.
Direwolf Alpha also does, I think, right?
Because
Right.
it's such an efficient clear.
Well, let's see.
But
what
I don't think this is right because like, if you leave
7.
if you leave one up, you know you're dead even to power overwhelming. Like yeah, he might not have another Doomguard, but
Oof. Yeah, he's dead no matter what now.
No, taunt off the Shredder.
Oh god. Wow.
nope.
Great
Yeah, wow. Looks like that's it.
shot. Yeah.
Wow.
Because Gar didn't play around the one Defender of
That's like
Argus.
the biggest win ever for Ekop.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's
That brings Cloud9
crazy.
back
Look at the
into the
smile on this
series.
guy's face. He's like, yeah, I took the game with Zoo and I never thought
Yeah.
I could.
Uh-oh.
The apology. Uh-oh. They're sitting across each other. Doesn't that feel weird? I never asked.
Ekop's play with like 2 less mana every single turn for the past 3 turns.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he wins, right?
Yeah, he still wins. The Void Caller there.
Oh damn, he's happy.
Ekop is like,
Yeah, I mean you would be happy there. You were like your team was in such a dire
Like,
situation.
Well, it had to be specifically like Defender of Argus there, and if he had not only Defender of Argus, he had to actually like have the second Doom Guard like ready to go.
kill,
Yeah.
right?
Because if he didn't, he had that, and he needed Power Overwhelming or 2 Abusive Sergeants or
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think Gar's play at the end was pretty desperate. I think he took a risk that his opponent didn't have Argus, and he did, and that was like the huge swing.
Yeah.
I mean, you needed 3 damage. I mean, it's a Warlock.
If he had more
can
minions
come
in
up
his
with some of
hand,
that.
okay.
I think if he had more minions in his hand, he might have considered like a slower play because he could
Mhm.
fight for the board against Zoo. Whereas, like, if you've got it lost, it's pretty much over, right? Like, you
Mhm.
can't even recover. So he decided to push phase, hoping that his opponent would be forced to make trades.
Mhm.
It's all on Shrivecrow, so
Yep.
Shrivecrow has to be able to win, but he is unbenched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
that's the big story
now,
right now.
now Eloise's Freeze Mage, which had so many good matchups going into this, now doesn't really have.
Well,
Back
there's
range
that
matchup.
paladin she could find.
Yeah,
right?
but mid-range Paladin,
With Healbot, I guess, is a bit
yeah,
tougher.
like Strefgor has a lot of heals, and he's also got a lot of the aggressive cards still in there. It's definitely a good matchup for the Freeze Mage, but I mean, the Freeze Mage was doing like really well against the Priest. It was doing really well against I think against the Face Hunter, you'd do pretty well against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also Zulok is pretty easy, and Patron is kind of bad, but hey, whatever. But now you only got like a Paladin, which is like a bit good.
I mean, you kind of coin flip as to whether or not you're going to run into it.
Mhm.
The Druid is just, I wouldn't say terrible, because you can still win it, right? Like, it's a bad matchup, let's be
Yeah.
honest, but you can still get like a 30,
Yeah.
35 maybe percent win rate. It's not like it's Control Warrior, which would be just devastating.
Yeah, Strifecrow's Druid builds board a lot more than I think normal Druids, at least with what we've saw.
Good point.
I don't know if that really matters. I think that actually maybe takes away from it, because I think most of the Druid decks just...
Temple
have-
with bigger minions, he has like,
Right.
some smaller
yeah,
ones
I
instead.
think the smaller minions are actually not relevant.
Yeah, they're just going to die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, Tempest Storm is in a bit of a hole here. They're just a little bit behind. and in the closing moments, that can mean
Right,
it can
because
mean
now
something.
they couldn't really capitalize off the bench. I think it's also interesting that they went with Hunter, so maybe Eloise isn't playing Freeze Mage.
Tempo
because
Mage would have
I
actually
feel
been
like-
pretty rough.
Yeah, I think maybe it's in a scenario that they didn't want to play the Mage because it's not Freeze Mage.
Nah, that would be a plot twist.
It could just be that you think the Hunter gets a better matchup. Though.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up that.
Yeah,
possibility.
that's a great. That's a
Yeah.
good point. I mean, if it is Tempo Mage, we've seen a lot of variants of it come out. Like the Spell Slinger was added nowadays, which adds another free spell to your hand, sort of. More variants, I guess.
Not exactly free.
Yeah, but like you don't draw it from your deck. It kind of counts as like 3 mana, draw a card for 3/4. It's pretty sweet for that deck.
It's pretty cool. I like the card.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it a single time constructed though.
Really? It actually won against Trump in like the grand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was like a tournament. I think Tom won against Trump, like a massive.
Oh.
I think if this is actually good if Tempo Mage or if they're playing Tempo Mage because then it's good against Druid and pretty decent against mid-range Paladin.
Mhm.
So it could easily flip like, oh, maybe it was good against Warlock because they had Freeze Mage, but if they had Tempo Mage, then Shrifko still might get cornered. And it simply could come down to Druid versus Druid in Game 11, and something silly like that.
Which one do you think has the edge? Because like we've seen Strike Rose Druid be a little bit more board centric. Assuming you go up against a mid range, which one is better? Like typical mid range or the most?
It's very different because Druid is one of those matchups where it's like so tempo dependent, and every kind of archetype has access to like wild growth stuff as well as innervate. So I think it's just really dependent on those card draws as opposed to the archetype.
Okay,
Like people who used to say slower druids were better than faster druids in the mirrors, but then they found that the faster druids just still innervate stuff and did too much damage, and it doesn't matter if you have ancient or
They're
Gordian.
probably just more
they
consistent.
just go through.
Yeah.
The consistency helps a lot.
All right, so Hyped is going to be picking up his Druid versus Strife Crow's
Yeah,
mid-range.
we have not seen a Druid play at all in the tournament. This is going to be a first.
We've seen Strife Crows, but it was like the weird.
Oh, right. That's
but
right.
we haven't seen Hyped. Definitely not. So
Yeah.
it could be another similar twist on Druid.
Yeah.
Just more minion based.
Could meant we haven't seen Hype's druid at all
Yeah.
this tournament.
Right. No way.
So he's still correct.
Yeah.
All right, sure.
Right.
I am curious though. I think there's a lot of stuff that's possible with Druid. Just I'm not really feeling any of those variations we talked about earlier that involve no combo.
I think
No, they're not here. They're
It's
not
just-
here.
Combo's just never going away unless Blizzard makes it go away.
Just because Druid needs it to win.
Yeah.
If you think about Druid without Savage Roaring Force of Nature, you start respecting it a lot less, and then you find out that outside of
It's easy to
Innervate,
exploit,
it has to
yeah.
fight very honestly against minions. It can't just sap it and then kill you.
Honest fighting.
Well, I remember the
We leave that
days,
for Arena.
like, you just like you get them in the class, like, in the list, and then they know what's up. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sylvanas is still pretty interesting to me. I feel like that card gets less and less value the smaller minions people generally play. People right now are playing really small minions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because you play Sylvanas, and then like their entire board has like 2 attack.
Yeah.
So like
it does
2
very-
turns later, you
implosion.
mind control something.
Implosion
Yeah.
Sylvanas. But the thing is, like with the druids that are a bit slower, I think you can always bank on people playing around combo. You know, that threat alone might sometimes allow you to deviate a bit from the typical list. Just kind of abusing the
He's
fear
a savage combatant of his own.
and the wild
That
growth.
can be pretty brutal. That's gonna be really brutal because he can answer with whatever his opponent brings out. Because
Oh yeah, Murloc Knight.
is that one of your favorites?
Oh, it's everyone's
Yeah.
favorite.
Well, it's up
like
there.
Murloc-
Favorite card of the
Murloc Knight brings out a Murloc Knight, and then each Murloc Knight brings out an old Murkai, and then you kill your opponent.
Yeah, I guess.
Happens every time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there's a double war leader, right? You know, like just a.
This should prompt the wild growth from Hyde because he can use the innervate as an extra 3 damage, so it basically becomes Wrath after the hero power.
Yep, absolutely.
It is worth evaluating if you want to realistically, your opponent can't kill the Savage Combatant next turn if you innervate it out.
Yeah.
He would have to have Blessing of Might.
Look, just
Well, you play a minion and juggle hits,
Just
and then
a
you
juggle.
trade it
Yeah,
away.
I think
But
that's
that's unreliable. I
yeah,
guess.
but then your turn 3 is kind of wonky, right?
I mean, that's
So-
Strafgro's play, by the way. He has nothing right now, and
Yeah.
and he doesn't have much else in his deck. Is the other thing to note. Besides the Sheila Minibots and the other jugglers, I don't think there is another 2-drop.
unless Hype wants to innervate Shredder out so he has something sticky on board. Then he gets punished by Archer Protector.
I feel like your play is so dominant compared to any other. Like
Yeah.
just Wild Growth and Savage Combatant into Hero Power for 3 off the internet.
Yeah, it looks
You
like.
even have Curve.
I mean, you could play Shredder, I guess, instead of Combatant, because that way the second body will kill whatever's out after the juggler.
But here's also an interesting question. If he picks up 3-drop, then he misses his opportunity to Wild Growth.
Right.
Okay, well, Strife Crow...
Doesn't seem like it's
Yeah.
better than the Wild Growth play.
Not at the moment, no, definitely.
Would you just, like, attack face here? Because, like, you don't trade very well into the Shredder, and there's no way for you to get, like, juggle value otherwise. So you just, like, let him trade down.
Yeah, but what about Living Roots?
The
and
flip side is because you're playing a dude, there's like about a 1 in 3 chance that the thing that comes out of the Shredder is either useless or has 1 health, so you tempo out the Druid because he has the
That's true.
incentive to hero power down your minion.
Yeah, the juggle's a sign, Strife Crow. Although I think you could be right. Like if it's a 1-1 or anything else, like
Yeah, 2-1 even. Like, it doesn't matter. Right?
I just think in this case you actually can do whatever you want.
Okay, and it's like not wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with either
But
actually.
with the
evaluating the
Cog Hammer,
hands though, he has Cog Hammer,
Right,
So
exactly.
he wants like higher chance for minions to stick.
That probably is a consideration.
Darnassus Aspirant. No, see now that's a forgiving draw because both outcomes, whether this stays alive or dies, is still okay.
Until he finds one from the Shredder.
Yeah, I think so. And you still kill the juggler because of Muster for Battle next turn. He plays it before the possibility of Nerubar Weblord screws him over.
Oh, not quite.
Alright, Cog Hammer's at least useful. Because you keep the 1-1.
Well, by useful, it's the only card you can play, so
Yeah,
yes, it's
right.
very useful.
Well, it kills something at least, right?
Yeah, I think you'd just go for the Darnassus again.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what your opponent has, so you just want to deny as much as you can. Even though I believe attacking the 2/2 is better in terms of board control.
Yeah, the thing is you don't want him to get like, the 5 mana and maybe get a Druid of the Claw. You're not remotely ready to answer that. Like, not remotely.
Yeah. Savage Combatant here will threaten any other 5-drop. Or not 5-drop, 4-drop.
You might consecrate it. I mean, if it comes out, would you consider just consecrating it off the board by using Cog Hammer's charge to finish it off?
I'd consider it. You still have a weapon,
Yeah.
but
You have Loath as a follow-up. I
I mean,
guess it's alright.
what are you gonna play? It's Consecrate or Murloc Knight. It's not a good time for Murloc Knight.
Minibot is an option as well, but I don't like it as much.
Yeah. What punishes you with Minibot? I mean,
Well,
Druid of the Claw
hold on.
punishes you, but you have consecration to kind of make
Yeah,
it better.
Minibot's kind of okay.
Minibot
'cause
actually
you, get,
survives next turn.
you just take a lot of damage to face.
Yeah.
Is the only difference.
Ooh.
You take an additional 5 at the very least.
Yeah, possibly
And assuming
more.
that your opponent doesn't have more ways to fill the board, so you might have to
Right.
consecrate again anyways.
Yeah, I mean the issue is that if you go for the greedy play and Hype plays Druid of the Claw, you actually don't kill the Savage Combatant again.
Oh, that's a good point.
So you take another 5.
Yeah. So this is a play around Drew the Claw. I think you're right.
Yeah.
It does give initiative over to Height, and he does have that Azure Drake, which is very significant.
Yeah, with Lothab though, I think the Azure Drake's value is diminished. Like you can't Wrath and just hero power down, say the Lothab in this case.
Yeah.
So it's at least pretty okay. I think the Lothab makes. Oh well, never mind. Is that a change of plans, or you still go for Lothab? I can't imagine you wouldn't play True Silver.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Usually
You would.
there's so much value in just playing on curve, because I mean, even if you True Silver here, then
No, you have a
what
turn 6 anyway, right?
do you? Murloc Knight is not a good turn 6 if you're
No,
behind on the
Shield
board.
Minibot, True
But
Silver
the
is.
thing about the Lothab, though, is that it does have value as the game extends. So you can stop a combo if you feel like you're going to die.
Yeah.
I guess, but you have 2 heals. I don't think you need to really stop the
And
combo.
he actually gets
Well,
Drew the Claw, so he can protect the Drake.
I mean, the thing is that between the True Silver Champion and the Shield Minibot, the turn 6 from Striker is looking fine. Turn 7 would be something like Healbot, Hero Power, just based on his hand, right? Assuming you find nothing better.
Is it that bad to charge this even?
I'm thinking about it, like, because that's 8 damage, and if he doesn't have any healing,
Yep, there it
it's
is.
probably the proper play.
Well, the issue is that he has a lot of healing.
Yes, some healing.
Yeah, some, right? Like, just 16 points of damage without True
It's
Silver.
above average.
Okay.
And he can Wild Growth into combo next turn, so
Right.
there's actually application for that card. Not to mention that he still has Wrath as well, so he can help pick apart this board.
That actually forces Striker to heal bot on turn 7, which is really bad for tempo.
Turn 6, you mean?
No.
He'll have 7 mana next turn.
Yeah.
Oh, heal bot. Sorry, I understood shielded bot. I don't know why. I kind of confused both. All
2
right.
rats.
Cycle.
All right. Well, first he's gonna cycle.
He has the hero power if he wants lethal. His face. It is.
Yeah. So you can wild growth.
Oh well. That's a bit tricky.
I don't think you play the swipe right
Yeah,
now.
doesn't seem to make much sense.
Like, if you just hero power face, you trigger the True Silver hit anyway, and he needs life gain. I mean, that's good enough in my book. And then if things go wrong, then you actually need the swipe. But if you swipe preemptively, you basically force yourself to lose to heals, which is just not very good, I think.
Well, you should wild growth now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I can't. If you don't do that, you might just get blown out by any type of defensive play from the opponent. It's still not one even with combo. The swipe gives him a bit more reach at least for the following turns.
But then if he can heal bot into Tyrion, that's
yeah, right.
that's effective, and that might even just lock Hyped out of the game unless he gets Keeper.
Nah, it's still not impossible. He can get it done. It's just going to be a little bit of an uphill top deck battle at this stage.
Yeah, Striker knows. It's like, okay, you got it.
Yeah.
You're good.
you
Fooling anybody.
you spend your turn
So if
turn 7 doing this.
if Hype draws like
Hype could have lethal here if you had Innervate and the other Innervate and a Savage Roar.
yeah, you are correct.
But he already played.
Oh, you already played Innervate.
Yeah.
That's right. So you can't have lethal.
Yeah.
There's no
In
way.
arena you could. So I forgive you.
So he can't even set up he can set up 2-turn lethal. If he swipes the face, hero powers it down, and then his opponent doesn't have taunt or heal.
Yeah.
But he does have a heal. He has True Silver. So
And
that
he has
doesn't
Tyrion.
work.
And he has Tyrion. Yeah.
Well, it just doesn't work on the board state.
So he can Wrath for 1, swipe the face, and hero power it down.
I think you'd swipe the heal bot just to slow down the game.
This is kind of the weakness of the aspirant. Like, whenever you see it late game, I always feel pretty bad for the druid player, because it's always that card that does nothing when you're just close to getting the game.
It's true. I think if you swipe the heal bot, it makes sense because he has True Silver, so he can still heal out of range. I think you swipe that, hero power down to 2-1. He also could be waiting for the
other Savage Roar.
Yeah.
That's a 22er.
Yeah, I mean, if he
Still
can
don't get
keep her the
past
Tyrion... Oh, wow. He's going to force the opponent to use the True Silver Champion charge on the... It's going to negate the healing, I guess, and bring him back down to 19.
But that doesn't do anything.
No, it's just board presence. It's 18 damage.
Yeah.
So this is where Tyrion comes down. And Hype will need to draw into the Keeper of the Grove.
Yeah, Hype's like to do himself, like, of course he's got Tyrion.
I want to see like a mulch or something off the top. Damn it.
Oh.
Be pretty nuts.
That'd be pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't see a 1 of that card. In,
I saw like a Reddit post where someone like mulched and then he gave him like
The exact same
Mash or
card?
something,
Oh,
so
wow.
he killed him.
Wow. So you mulch that Lepernome and then Grommash comes out.
Yep.
Yikes. A very painful exchange. Now Strifeco can basically load up the board and stay
Oh my
far
God.
ahead.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to load up the board.
Yeah, well, originally I was thinking Murloc Knight with Hero Power and the
Aldor.
the Aldor,
Yeah.
but Dr. Boom might even
Oh.
be better.
Well, there we
Depends
go.
on how it is.
Let's see what kind of Murloc we get. It's too bad there's no like taunt Murlocs. Maybe in a few expansions.
Yeah.
Murloc tank.
Wow, this is the worst, right?
Murloc
Actually, maybe Murloc
Heckler.
Raiders is the worst.
Murloc Raiders are worse.
Well, doesn't look like there's any chance here. Even if Hype gets something good off the Shredder, he just has to combo here, right?
Yes, he has to combo to not lose.
You know, we're talking about like the lineup, like the Zoo and the Paladin being weak spots for Cloud9, but I think we're just flat out like completely.
Well, to be fair, it's like Strifeco did end up drawing like a very good sequence to deny the Druid from being able to pressure. Also, Paladin versus Druid's not that bad.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to 50.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like one of those things that could go either way very easily.
Full safety mode.
Yeah, chances are good that there's no other Murlocs in the deck besides the other Murloc Knight.
Yeah, which ends up buffing it. This is going to be really close to the game, though. Like, in the end, it looks not really close at all because Dr. Boom and the lay on hands, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. It was one draw away, I guess, from going for
Yeah,
like either
if
way.
you didn't have the heal bot, if you didn't have Tyrion...
Well, it's still... Is it over? Does...
Pretty much is. I mean, what
Yeah.
could Hype find that would even?
Yeah,
stabilize
BGH would
this?
not be enough.
Right, because there's just too much damage on board.
Right.
Yeah. The
So
Ashbringer's a
that's
lot.
going to be a 5-3 lead, and they're going to have to 3-0 the
Double naturalize off the Ancient of Lore.
Wow.
I wouldn't put it past Hype.
Wow.
I
You
think
wouldn't put it. I would put it
Yeah, he's
past
smart enough to
Hype.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Double naturalize. I think it's great, right? Makes sense. Total sense.
Oh, he's thinking about something.
Yeah.
There's something that kills Dr. Boom and doesn't kill him here, I think.
How? That's not even possible.
Well,
I mean,
you wouldn't do this otherwise, because you'd be revealing information,
I can
fair enough.
Oh wow.
right?
Sure.
There has to be a way in his deck. He was thinking about it and he made the play.
Right.
I'm counting on naturalize.
Yeah, you're counting on like a single naturalize maybe just to remove some minions out.
Naturalized Force of Nature Savager.
Yeah, like turn 10, right? You're guaranteed.
Oh,
to
that
go
would be
through.
so cool.
The dream.
Yeah.
What have we started?
Well, I don't know. Maybe something that's
Like
really new.
next
meta.
week on
Yeah.
ladder. That's
We're thinking
every
like
day.
everybody's playing like naturalized
Naturalized Force
druid.
Nature.
Yeah, I can
Oh,
see that.
God, what a
the
nightmare.
That'd be the craziest thing. But then again, you just play like patron. You draw more cards. You're good to go, right?
I mean, they would only do that when you kill you, so
Oh,
no.
right.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't.
So they wouldn't play naturalizing.
Uh-oh.
Uh oh.
Gara's yelling.
Yeah, he's like, dude.
That's
what?
that's angry Gara.
Yeah. Angry.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've seen Angry Gara.
Have you?
Yeah,
I've never seen him angry. I've seen him
Gara
disappointed, but
many times.
Do you think there's some chance he's going to throw the chair at Hype here?
Well, maybe at himself.
Oh.
I mean, he didn't play around Defender Vargas, so
Nah, that's a good
I don't
point.
really feel like okay. Well, I guess the debate with there's a lot of like plays you can debate with these guys. So the wild growth, the not wild growth on turn 2, and then ends up using it for the combo instead.
I think
How did that
I think
change?
that hurt a lot.
That changed a lot of the game's outcomes. I think.
And he would have snuck in so much more damage. It would have been
Yeah.
hard to even
Yeah.
keep up with.
But
Just
I
the
think
heal bot.
it's kind of scary when you're facing down a juggler. There might be a mini bot on the back end, and then you just fall off the
Yeah.
board because you
Mhm.
can't compete with it.
Yeah. And
All right.
in the end, it's like with that many lines of play that are very gray area, it's like you just don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, that slightly strange druid from Strife Crow. It's going to get 3 tries among each of Tempo Storm's members.
And well, it's going to be tricky. I think the faster druid does better against the hunter. Although
I'd
one thing that's
imagine.
tricky is that Gar's traps have been revealed. He knows it's bear trap. He knows it's snake trap.
He hasn't seen Bear Trap. I don't think.
Yeah, we saw in
It
the
was in the
mulligan.
opening mulligans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he does. Okay, so he just transmitted the information over.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Um,
And then if it's tempo mage, faster druid does do better against that too.
I think because you can't change decks in this whole starting set, like
Yeah,
I think you
seeding.
can change your decks on the last day, but you can't change them on the first 2 days. So if you're gonna lose, you might just keep the mage hidden. We don't even know what it is.
yeah. So you just don't even reveal it to anyone and bring
Yeah,
it back.
I think
the
there's
following
you have
day.
to win with all 3. So I think if anything, the only thing we can predict is Eloise is not playing until she's last.
Well, that said, I think she'll probably play next. Just because if it's tempo mage, it's their best chance of winning.
But they have to win with all of them. So
With
it doesn't
everything,
matter
yeah.
what their best chance is. There's no game differential.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hype not
that's
bench
true, that's
might
true.
make it might
That's a
make a
good point.
difference.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I think like the
But in
hunter
terms of
from Gar is
statistics,
fine.
like, don't you want to try your highest win rate every single time so you can?
Maybe against an emotional player, but it's Strife Crow. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah, emotional Strife Pro. I don't know. He's only got like good emotion.
I
He
actually
does get
talked to
nervous from
Strife
time to
Crow what
time.
he's like looking forward to doing like tonight, and that was like yesterday. He's like, man, I'm reading this good book.
Yeah, he told me he's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like-
he wants to go, but it's like,
Yeah.
You know, you're here playing for $150,000.
Yeah, it's like, I'm
yeah, and he like laughs and he goes, yeah, but I really want to read that book.
Yeah.
And
Every
then you
single
actually check the
time.
book. It's
Yeah.
like how to manage stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Strife Crow just loses against the mage, just like it would affect zero plays, zero everything. Just wouldn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The definite answer is like just play whatever.
Yeah.
But not mage.
yeah,
Okay.
it's just you just give your opponent something, so it's not worth giving away.
Yeah. What if they play the 2 first and then they get to mage and they lose it?
Mm. You have to think about that. Like, it's so important to win today to just get that first
Right.
point on the board. But even if you lose, you still want to just do your best to maybe come out of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you go 2-1, you're still fine. Like losing one game here is like a problem.
Gara brought Druid.
I'm pretty sure Guard brought Hunter, which
Yeah.
then updated it from
Okay.
playing Druid.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's the other druid player. So, what do you think the mid range? I mean, because the hunter from Gar seemed like it was fine. It's forcing the opponent to have swipes
Mhm.
very often, and triggering the bear trap and dealing with it on the same turn is pretty tricky.
Well,
when you end up
completely
playing
relevant to that. I never realized Gara was holding mana crystals in his hand in his,
Really?
his art there. Yeah.
It's actually.
I thought that was like some frost spell, like Blizzard.
Oh, you think
or
so?
something.
They
That's what I
really
thought.
look like mana crystals.
But when you say mana crystals, it also looks like that too.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's a wizard.
2 Druid of the Sabers.
Yeah.
That gives you some very good early board control.
You keep the swipe against Hunter, or don't you? Because you
I'm
have
really
you have a
tempted
pretty.
to.
You know, there's Snake Trap. You know, there's Haunted Creepers. It seems like a pretty good keep.
The Savage, I'm not sure about, but again, it's a pretty like strong card to remove.
Savage Command doesn't really seem that practical.
It's only good if it sticks, and it's probably not going to against a Hunter.
Yeah.
And you don't have any ramp to really benefit off of it either.
Yeah. Like,
Also, probably what you're attacking it to has 1 health.
right.
It depends.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
jugglers
like
are there,
surprisingly good
scientists-
against Bear Trap,
It's true.
but
Huh. Yeah.
I mean that's something that he has to account for.
Mhm.
I would say if I would make a prediction, Shriver just tosses that away, and he does. So the early game Druid of Sabers will have to do a lot of work, but Gar does have some early game board control, and the Argent Horse Rider is really sick.
Wow.
Oh, and he didn't keep the Savage Combatant.
It's all right. He can still double Druid
It would have
here.
been so sick
Yeah,
though
but if
this
he
turn.
did-
I
Imagine.
don't know if you want to do that though.
Yeah, you're
'Cause-
attacking the bear trap and then you kill it.
Like, are you really gonna try to race a Hunter?
Sometimes
I
you have
might,
to.
yeah.
In this
Yeah, but it's
matchup.
usually like a mid-game push.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough. So
Oh wow.
the Savage Horse already set up.
Yeah, you might race. Now, one thing that I think Strifer was evaluating is if you should attack with this at all.
I think if you keep it stealth, you can drop Lotheb next turn, attack with both.
Yeah, and then you get a good Savage Horse.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
maybe
seems
one
reasonable.
stealth and minion is fine enough on its own.
Your opponent doesn't have coin,
Yeah.
so you don't have to worry about Houndmaster if he has it.
Okay.
And so this will prompt Gar to go for Animal Companion, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want a quick shot here. That's really the only other option. Or the Horse Rider, but even that is pretty weird. You want to play Horse Rider when you attack into something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with the Horse Rider is that it would kill either of these guys since they're stealthed. It really doesn't matter much. And when they're unstealthed,
Always
you
Huffer.
might be able to.
Huffers? So one of these will trade to Huffer then, right?
I imagine. I mean,
Yeah.
Lotheb would otherwise die to the 2 minions, or
So this is this like a variation of Nimsh's deck? that
I don't know
has
about Nimsh's
the
deck.
wild
Yeah.
wild.
Wait, that's the
Mark of the
divine.
Wild,
That's
yeah.
the Divine Shield one. Yeah, you.
He plays both. Yeah. Kalento
Okay.
built this, I think, yesterday. I saw him mess around with the
What do you have in this deck that targets outside of Mark of the Wild? Mark of
Wrath, but it's like the
Wrath?
Divine Shield one,
yeah.
so it wouldn't work. Hey, it literally wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tempo minion. Like, how many 3-mana 3/4s do druids have, right? Like, it's one of those things where you can get a little benefit out of it sometimes, and it's not mandatory.
All right. Well, actually, the attack makes it so Argent Horse Rider is a pretty good play.
Yeah, but then swipe on the other end.
Well, you're Hunter. I don't think you play around stuff.
That's
Yeah,
true.
we just saw him do that last game.
That's true.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There you go. Consistent play from Gar.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's his style of hunter. That's his brand.
that's everyone's though.
And that's his as well.
I guess it's not. It doesn't have to be unique, right? To be his.
Yeah.
So. I mean,
Swipe
if
face.
Yeah, you swipe face obviously after trading. Like.
Yep.
The thing is there even a way for Gar to stabilize after this point? Because if he's forced to play Lotheb just to equalize with the
Lotheb into
opponent's
Lotheb.
Lotheb, that's absolutely disgusting. So you'd almost have to just play Mad
Ooh.
Scientist and hope for a better follow-up.
Mhm.
Gara's mad.
Yeah, it's like unbelievable.
Gara maddest shaman.
Yeah. All right. Wow, the sacrificial Lotheb basically.
Is it even going to be that?
It's just necessary based off of his curve.
Yeah.
Azure Drake in response. Does that warrant a trade just because he doesn't?
I don't know. I think you might just go face here.
Living
Yes.
Roots actually make like the Keeper of the Grove and Living Roots finishing off
You can
Lotheb.
target your own light bait with living room.
No, you
One
can't
more
because
damage.
the Divine Shield triggers before the
Yeah, I
spell
know.
resolves. So.
I'm just talking about other.
It works with the Darkbane though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm 1 damage off lethal and I have Living Roots and the Darkbane. You
What if
know?
it's like there's Dark Whispers here and we just don't know it?
Yeah, I mean
That's
it's
sick.
Nice.
yeah.
Make an 8/9 taunt with Divine Shield.
All right.
Yeah.
Master
Hoots.
Jouster, get at me now.
Yeah, Striker's thinking about it. I mean, yeah, this is a lot to think about.
I mean, I feel
You
like going
initiate
face
the
is
race. You
fine.
have Savage Roar. You probably win a race.
Yeah, I really like this because Keeper of the Grove just gives you so much like trading. Like once they trade into whatever you've got on the board, Keeper of the Grove will finish it off. Or Roots, I mean, pick one.
Yeah, and well, if I had the Ardent Horse Rider, that'd be
insane.
That'd be a pretty.
We need Blood Mage Thanos here, right? Like you just Blood Mage, quick shot.
Yeah, Blood Mage Thanos.
Right.
Well, Unleash would have done the job pretty well.
Yeah.
Really well, actually.
Yeah.
Loatheb wouldn't even take damage.
Yeah, terribly well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually crazy.
It would because you wouldn't have.
Yeah, you would.
Everything.
Yeah.
You'd be missing out on a little bit of.
Who to shoot?
Well, I don't really know how Garth thinks he can win this, right? Like it looks dire from this position.
He might. I mean, it
Well,
could,
Striker doesn't have much to back up the current board.
Yeah, but you're just scared
That's
of
why he went
Gara,
face.
right? I'm talking like from Gar's perspective, you've got a really big. You're afraid, right? You think being off tempo against a Druid, usually you win because you're forcing them into like a zoo-like board that you have, and they have to respond to it.
Oh.
Oh man, is this gonna be like the?
he's
snore?
racing. He's going to rely on Quick Shot to save him.
So it's like you either have lethal now or I win. Does he
I
have
like this.
lethal?
Does he? He has +6, +2, +3. That has to be lethal.
That's
Yeah.
lethal.
With the
And that's the end of the series. So Cloud9 starts off very strong with a convincing 6-3 victory.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't get better. I mean,
Their pick was rewarded because I know that they were looking at the lineups and they're like, no, we'll pick Tempo Storm. But
I guess.
they were picking Tempo Storm not because they were targeting Hype Gara though, but those were the guys that end up losing the most.
Yeah.
And I think that's just how it is. Like these team series are always really unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
You just never can really figure out that's exactly the way it went. But that's also like you can't just blame it on draws. There was lots of plays that you could agree or disagree upon, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we definitely had some pretty close calls on some of the plays. Smiles all around from Cloud9 there. Look at that. Oh, no, not Kalento.
no, Kalento doesn't smile. But the cool thing,
he's telling Striker what he misplayed.
yeah, like what did you
I know
misplay
that
there?
for a fact. when his finger goes up, Kalento's teaching somebody about Hearthstone. That's a fact.
I think Strife Crow's agreeing but saying no, but, and Kalento's like, no, you're wrong. All right, let's go.
Oh, Smiles gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. See, they're not even happy. They're like,
we
no,
won,
screw
but
you.
this is terrible.
I'm leaving Cloud9.
Greetings.
Oh,
First,
man.
wow, yeah, Strife Crow's been getting pretty cocky today, but we can go ahead and welcome the winners on.
Yeah.
Am I getting welcome? Okay.
Oh, okay.
So am I sitting here? Wait, who's sitting here?
I can stand, it's okay.
I'll be our seating representative.
All right, welcome everyone.
Where's my mic?
Everyone is sharing the mic today.
Yeah.
Actually, why don't you sit?
I'll just stand.
No, I'm standing. I'm standing.
Okay.
You should sit here then, because I'm the most quiet.
Sure.
All right, you guys have the privilege of hitting the button just once. That you guys can
Hit the button. GG.
There we go. All right, so you guys are pretty high up on spirits. I think most people are just curious on the recent interaction that happened between Kalento and Strifecrow. Did he play terribly? Is he off the team?
No, Striker played well.
Oh, okay.
We were talking mostly
Okay.
about.
We were talking about other teams.
We were talking about how
okay.
bad Tempo Storm
We
played.
just saw Strifecrow go from like smiling to not smiling after Kalento's finger was pointing. Yeah, but overall, great stuff, guys. What did you guys think of Tempo Storm? I mean, why was it targeted, and is it what you guys expected?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
We still don't know what kind of mage heal is brought.
No, we have some guesses. I guess there's no point saying on stream. I don't know if that would be good, but yeah. I mean, I don't think we did anything that they didn't expect either. It's like, so I guess it's just I think both teams just kind of did their own thing, but yeah.
Now we had a bit of a gap between the last time we had ATLC in the qualifier stage, and here we are at the finals. And did you guys expect to see some more wild stuff? I mean, we saw a little bit of wild stuff, but I mean, what did you guys expect out of Tempo Storm?
I definitely thought that Tempo Storm would be the most hard to read team. I thought because like they barely streamed any competitive decks, I think. And we kind of pinned down what they might play based on their personal preference, and also like the reason we picked the Tempo Storm as well because we thought skill wise they would be the weakest team as well.
I thought Gara would bring a weird hunter, and I thought it would hurt their chances too.
Did it?
I don't know. It was
Okay.
kind of-
It was weird. It had like bear trap as well.
Oh, bear trap is weird.
Yeah,
I know.
Bear trap is
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Okay, it's weird.
And it's more like about other teams too.
Mhm.
If you don't face Temple Storm, who do you face? They're pretty scary too.
Yeah. Well, we do have the other teams coming up. What do you guys think about that? You guys picking Tempo Storm. You made Nylum face off against Value Town. Is there some strategy component to that as well?
We pretty much only thought about ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's important to win that first match because it's really important to just go 2-0.
Yeah. clean
Winning
up.
the first match obviously increases the chance of
Right,
going to 0. So,
All right. Well, congratulations. Any other thoughts, guys, before we head off?
I mean, get wrecked Tempo Storm, I guess.
Get wrecked, Tempo Storm. Oh. All right, guys. Well, we'll be right back. We'll start up the next series. We will take a 15-minute break to get everyone in place.